Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. There's a potential killer on the loose in your city. 18 women have been beaten and robbed by this man. The newspapers call him the Werewolf. Your job is to get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case, from beginning to end, from crime to punishment. Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday morning, February 2nd. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the early morning watch out of robbery detail. Detectives in Los Angeles work in pairs. My partner's Ben Romero. He's a sergeant, and so am I. My name's Friday. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. I was on the way back from the teletype room, and it was 3 a.m. when I got to room 27A, robbery detail. Hi, Ben. What's up?
Keep your coat on, Joe. Just had a hot shot call. Coming, Skipper?
Right behind you. Let's go, Friday.
Oh, what was it, Ed?
Another woman robbed, almost beaten to death.
Well, how many does that make?
About 18 in 6 weeks. Is that right, Skipper?
Yeah, 18 too many. Come on down these stairs to the garage.
Yeah. What about that suspect we had, Ed?
You mean Martin?
Yeah.
Had to release him this morning. But I got a good tail on him, Henderson.
Yeah. We got any report yet?
Nothing definite to hold him for. Here's the garage. Let's hustle it.
Right.
Then if this isn't Martin's job, Skipper, and he's not the right man...
Then we start all over again, and we work night and day till we find the right man. Here's the car. Let's go.
Ben, you drive.
Yeah, all right.
How do the victims describe this guy, Ed?
Pretty sketchy. Supposed to be tall, dark, long black hair. Last woman said he had a face like an animal, something like a dog, a wolf.
A wolf?
Yeah. She said something like a werewolf.
Something like a werewolf. He almost had to be that, judging from the way he operated. He was either an animal or a raving maniac. One thing we were sure of, he was smart and he was dangerous. For almost 2 months, he prowled the streets in a stolen car in the early morning, usually between 3 and 5 a.m. And the victims were always lone women, most of them waitresses, coming to work or going home. He dragged them into the car, robbed them, beat them until they were unconscious, and then throw the body out into the street. That's just what we found when we pulled up to the curb near the corner of 8th and Grand. One cruiser car was already there, and so was the ambulance. About a dozen people were standing around looking at the crumpled figure of a woman sprawled out on the sidewalk. 2 officers were talking to the only witness, a thin, sallow-faced newsboy. His story didn't give us much to go on.
Like I was telling these cops, or these officers, sir, I was walking up 8th Street on my way home as usual when I see this blue Chevy sedan pull up down the block there a little way and dump out the dame's body. Naturally, I don't know what to think.
You got a look at the license plate?
Well, no, I didn't. To tell you the truth, I could hardly keep from... Well, I was just plain scared.
Well, what did you do after you saw him throw the body out, son?
Well, I just stood there for a minute and the fellow in the car drove right on past me. Did you get a look at him? I sure did.
How close were you when he drove past?
Well, no, it couldn't have been more than, 8 or 10 feet away. I was right over there by the street light near the curb. Would you know this man if you saw him again? I don't know about his height or his build or his weight, but mister, his face I'll never forget. Why do you say that? It was just like the paper says about him. Right here on the front page. Here, read it. See? The woman says the attacker looked like werewolf. That's all the newsboy could tell us. The suspect drove a blue sedan. He had a face like a werewolf. We covered the neighborhood for clues, and we questioned a dozen people, but we got nowhere. We took the witness's name and address, and and we drove down a couple of blocks to an all-night gas station.
14-hour off the Metropolitan.
I'm going in here and call the office and see if Henderson's called in on Martin. We might still have a suspect.
Right, Skipper.
13-hour off the Metropolitan.
Looks as mad as a wet hornet, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah. Did you get a good look at that woman's face when they moved her in the ambulance?
Yeah. Sure does like to mess him up.
Oh, I don't know how we're going to get him, Ben, but we better do it fast. Next time, it'll probably be murder.
Oh, here comes the skipper, Joe. Uh-oh. Doesn't look good.
What is it, Ed?
Just talked to Henderson. He tailed Martin to a bar in Long Beach. Hasn't been out of his sight for 2 minutes since yesterday. Martin's clear.
And we're right back where we started.
Yeah, with one more half-dead woman in the hospital.
Well, how about that stolen car, Skipper?
Wait a minute.
Victim of
Get that
211
radio
and
up.
attack.
Okay.
Code 3. Ambulance dispatched. Attention, all units. On Grand Avenue between Venice and Washington. A woman, victim of robbery and attack. Code 3. Ambulance to task.
Code 3, red light and siren. Come on, Friday, let's roll.
Well, we couldn't be sure, but it sounded like another one. 6 minutes later, we were there. Same story. Werewolf. The next day, the chief ordered the number of cruiser cars doubled in the Central District. This was for the early morning watch with plainclothesmen to back them up. Then the newspapers played it big. In 2 days, the story was on the front page of every paper in town. Maybe that should have made the werewolf lay low, but it didn't. Because at 4 o'clock that morning, while Ben and I were patrolling with the other cars, he got his 20th victim.
Attention, all units. Whittier between Soto and Matthews. A woman, victim of 211 and attack. Code 3. Ambulance dispatched.
Here's a report on that blue sedan he used the other night, Joe. Found it out on Anaheim Telegraph Road.
Any luck with it?
Not one fingerprint we can use.
Anything else?
Nothing.
Well, how about the auto theft detail?
Same old story, Joe. He steals a car, uses it once, and then drops it. Never leaves a thing behind.
That's great. We're sure moving fast.
How about that big guy you picked out of the lineup this morning?
Oh, I checked his alibi. It's perfect.
Now we haven't got even half a clue.
Yeah. Well, come on, let's check with Ed. He's instructing the policewomen on the plan for tonight.
All right. Now you've heard the report. You understand how the suspect operates and what you're to do. Remember, all of you forget you were ever policewomen. Change the way you walk, the way you carry yourselves. That's the part you're playing, all right? And be careful and don't take any chances. All right, Fred.
Okay, Ed. Now, just to make sure you look the part, we're spotting each one of you at different restaurants and coffee shops throughout the Central District. And from 7 o'clock tonight until daylight tomorrow, each one of you is going to be a waitress. You got that? Okay, Ben, you want to give them their assignments?
Okay, Joe. Well, here's the way it lines up. Marge Kissel at the Top Hat Cafe. That's on 9th Street between Alpharad and Westlake. And Katie Welch, Joe's Coffee House, Brooklyn, Soto.
Right.
Pat Fielding at the all-night steakhouse on Figueroa Street between Florence.
No, the trick of using decoys to lure criminals into a trap wasn't exactly new, but, well, it was just one of the old tricks that we figured might land the werewolf behind bars. At 7 that night, Ben and I made the rounds and found each of the policewomen on her job as a waitress. Now, the overall plan was simple. The girls were to leave the different restaurants between 3 and 5 a.m. that morning and pretend they were walking home. We mapped different courses for each one of them to throw out as much bait as possible and yet not to make it look suspicious. Each policewoman, from the time she left the restaurant and stepped out into the deserted streets, would be pretty much on her own. We had officers planted all along the way at designated intervals, but a big element of chance and danger was still there. All we could do was cross our fingers and hope.
How much more time, Joe?
Let me see. She's doing 2 minutes.
Yeah. Waiting gets on your nerves.
And it won't be long.
This corner doorway's a pretty good lookout spot.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Listen.
Who is it, Joe? Can you see?
Get back.
What is it?
Wait a minute. It's Marge Kissel. There's a man following her, a big guy.
If it's the werewolf, where's his car?
I don't know. Maybe he changed his plans. Get back. Here they come.
Get a look at him, Joe.
Oh, pretty good. Not too suspicious. Might be coincidence.
And I got a pretty good lead. Come on, let's go.
Stay back in the shadows.
Hey, Joe. So where'd the guy go to? I lost him.
A little coffee shop up in the next corner, see? Take a look.
Oh, yeah. He's opening the door. He's turning on the light. Yeah. Looks like a false alarm, Joe.
Well, let's check him anyway. Well, I didn't think we'd be that lucky on the first try, and we weren't. We asked the man a few questions. It didn't take him long to show us he wasn't our man. He owned the coffee shop. So, Ben and I went back and took up our posts again and waited for the next decoy. We covered that 10-block course 6 times that morning, back and forth, following the bait, but it was almost as if the guy could sense a trap. Not once did we get a nibble. By the time our last decoy finished the route, it was almost daylight.
Joe, I never was so glad to see that sun come up my whole life. My feet feel like they're puffing right up out of my shoes.
Yeah, me too. Come on, let's get over to the car and check on the other squad out in Boyle Heights. Hit the radio, will you, Ben?
Yeah. Joe, there must be some easier job on the force than that.
Yeah, you and me both. Now let's see what happened to the others, huh? 80K to Unit 104K, come in.
104K to Unit 80K, go ahead.
104K, this is Friday. You do any good out there?
This is Miller, I'll call Curtis. Stand by.
80K to 104K, Roger.
What do you think, Joe? Maybe a bite?
I don't know. Oh, this guy seems to work like a mind reader. Well, he can't win all of them.
104K to Unit 80K. This is Curtis, go ahead.
This is Friday, Al. How'd you do out there? Any luck?
Just checked in the last gal, Joe. Andy Welch, not a sign.
Okay, Al. Have the men check in. 80K clear. KGPL. Okay, let's go, Ben. When we finally got back to the office that morning, both Ben and I were ready for some sleep, but it didn't look like we were going to get it. We just about finished going through the overnight reports for some kind of a lead when the phone rang. Robbery Friday.
Hi, Joe. This is Wilkerson, auto theft.
Hi, Wilkie. You got something for us?
Not much, Joe, but it might work into something. Just got a report in on a pair of stolen license plates.
Oh?
Yeah. I'm not much of a hawkshaw, but I figured there's just a chance it might be your werewolf board.
How come?
I don't know, maybe just a hunch. After 13 years in this business, you get to know thieves pretty well. Sometimes you got to even think like them.
Okay, Wilkie, thanks. We'll check by in a couple of minutes.
Right, Joe.
What do you have to say?
Pair of license plates stolen last night. Wilkie's got a hunch it could have been our man.
Well, might be an angle, Joe. If that werewolf guy'd hang on to one car long enough, we'd have a chance at it.
Well, he's too smart for that.
I don't know, Joe. Sooner or later, he's going to make a mistake.
Yeah. Come on, let's check with Wilkie. Well, we checked with Wilkerson. We got the best piece of news we'd had in days. On the average, 95% of stolen cars are recovered or located within 24 hours. In the remaining 5%, Wilkerson, by a simple process of elimination, narrowed down the number of cars the suspect might be driving. Wilkie figured 6 cars.
There they are. Now, I'll bet you if you picked up your man tonight, he'd be in one of these cars.
Let me see, huh? 2-door black sedan, sedan, green, black coupe, and a gray convertible. Well, that's good work, Wilkie. At least we got something to look for now.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. Wilkie, you got the numbers of those stolen plates you're talking about?
Yeah, right here, Ben. They're already on the hot sheet.
Good. Keep us posted, huh?
As usual, Ben.
See you later, Will.
That's a good break, Ben. Something to keep us busy tonight.
Tonight? What do you mean?
We're setting another trap. Same thing as last night. Same police women, same everything.
Yeah, only this time let's hope he steps into it. You know, Joe, this werewolf character's getting me mad.
That night, we followed in our own footsteps. We planted the policewomen decoys in 3 separate districts, and a few minutes before 3 a.m., our squad of men took up their positions. The same policewomen went to their waitress jobs in the same restaurants, and Ben and I and the rest of the men stood in darkened doorways or empty filling stations, whatever cover we could find. And we waited and waited.
What time is it, Joe?
Let me look. 4:30.
Thank you. Any sign, Joe?
No, nothing yet. Come on, stay in the shadows. That's the way it went all through the early morning. Same plan over and over again until daylight. Ben and I'd check in at the station, go over the late stolen car reports with Wilkie, catch a few hours sleep at home, then come back and do it all over again. The next night, the next morning, the night after that, and the morning after that. 5 days later, Ben and I were ready to call it quits.
I'll admit it, Joe, I can't figure it. The guy's either psychic or else he can smell a cop a mile away.
Yeah, Well, at least we got that stolen car angle left. Did you check with Wilkie yet this morning?
I'll give him a call now.
All right.
Auto theft, Wilkerson.
This is Ben, Wilkie. Got anything for us this morning?
Yeah, I was just going to call you. You fellas ought to let me solve your cases for you.
Why? What'd you get?
The boys picked up 3 of those 6 stolen cars since late yesterday.
Great. Now, what does that leave us with?
Well, here are the 3 still missing.
Yeah.
4 X-ray 763,
Yeah.
5-6 Young 342,
Uh-huh.
6-1 Robert 385.
Now.
Got those?
Yeah, thank you, Wilkie. Check you later.
Good news?
Remember those 6 missing cars?
Yeah.
Wilkie says the boys found 3 of them since late yesterday. Here's what's still out. The blue coupe, the yellow convertible, and the gray convertible.
Yeah. Well, this feels like the right track for a change, Ben.
Righty. Romero, got a minute?
Sure thing, Skipper. Come on, Joe.
What do you got, Ed?
Woman out in Hollywood just called in with this. She said she walked down to the corner from her house last night to mail a letter. On the way back, a guy pulled up in the car and tried to drag her inside.
Any description?
Big, heavy-set, dark, same thing.
Well, how'd you get away from him, Skipper?
She said she started running as soon as he made a motion toward her. When he saw her run up the steps of her house, he jumped back in the car and took off.
Well, how come she didn't call in before this?
She hasn't got a phone. She's ready to leave the house again this morning.
Sounds good, Chief. You got her address there?
Here you are. Mrs. Tom Burdick, 1237 Wilcox, apartment 10.
Come on, Ben. This might be what we're looking for.
Who is it? Who's there?
Sergeant Friday, ma'am. Police.
Oh, just a moment.
I'm Sergeant Romero, Miss Burdick. This is my partner, Sergeant Friday. We come out to check on your call about that little trouble last night.
Oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to be much help to you. I was so frightened about all I could do was just run.
Well, could you add anything to the man's description, Miss Burdick? I mean, other than what you told the chief on the phone?
Well, now, honestly, I don't think I can. All I saw was this tall, dark man jumping out of his car and starting for me. He had a heavy build and seemed to me, well, a large head. Lots of long black hair.
Miss Burdick, would you recognize this man if you ever saw him again?
Well, I think I might. He was such an unusually big man, almost frightened me to death.
Well, just one more question, Miss Burdick. Could you describe the car this man was driving when he approached you?
His car?
Mm-hmm.
Why, yes. It was a gray convertible.
Miss Burdick, are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm sure of it. A gray convertible.
Thank you, Miss Burdick. That's all we wanted to know. Sometimes when you're on a case, you can chase yourself around in circles for weeks trying to fit together just 2 little pieces of a yard-long jigsaw puzzle. And a lot of the time, you find the answer where you least expect it. But once you get that feeling you're after the right man in the right way, there's nothing that can shake you. When Ben and I got back to headquarters, we went straight to the chief's office with the story, and we had him stake out the gray convertible. In other words, if any detective or officer spotted the car, he reported it back to us, but he stayed away from it. We figured that there probably weren't more than 2 of the victims who could take the witness stand and identify the man who robbed and beat them. Not with a smart defense lawyer, anyway. So there was only one way to catch this suspect. Red-handed.
Here they are, Joe. Both sets of license numbers for that gray convertible. Here are the original, and here are the numbers on the stolen plate.
Good. Everybody got a hot sheet?
From the chief all the way down to the janitor.
Fine. Now let's get together with Ed, huh?
Hot shot, Joe. Grab it.
I got it.
On the corner of California and Oakwood, a woman badly beaten. On the corner of California and Oakwood, a woman badly...
Come on, Ben, another one.
But, Joe, it's broad daylight.
Yeah, doesn't figure, does it? Come on.
That vacant lot over there, Joe.
2 plainclothesmen and uniformed officers were keeping the crowd back. An ambulance was drawn up by the curb, but it was empty. When we got down to the rear of the lot, we found out why. They were waiting for the coroner. The woman was young, not much more than 30. Her body was half sprawled across the muddy ground, and her face was turned upward. It had been badly beaten.
They figured it happened last night, Sergeant.
Have the fingerprint men been notified?
Yeah.
How about the crime lab?
Just called them.
That's good. Now let's keep everybody out of the area till they get here.
Right, Sergeant.
Who found the body?
One of the kids in the neighborhood. The woman was dead when you found her.
Did she live around here?
About a half mile away.
I hear she's got 3 kids. Or she had 3 kids.
You seen enough, Ben?
Yeah. Let's get on back to headquarters.
All the way back to headquarters, Ben and I planned our next move. And by the time we got to Ed Backstrand's office, we knew exactly what had to be done. When we told him about the werewolf murder, he didn't say a thing for a minute. He just stared across the room at the calendar on the wall. Then he brought his hand down hard against the desk.
Friday, Romero, I'm only going to say this once, so get it straight. That guy's pulled his last job in this city. He's through robbing and beating women, and he's through with murder. I've given you time to track him down, and now I want him in. No stalls and no excuses, I want him. I don't care how many men you use, and I don't care how you get him, but get him. That's all.
Ben and I worked all that afternoon, right through dinner, up until 8 o'clock. By that time, the overall plan was down on paper and already in action. It was one of the biggest things we'd ever tackled, and, well, we didn't know if it was going to work. We only knew it had to work. We had a squad of 65 cars to stretch out over 40 square miles of the city in one big dragnet. The blockade itself would be stationary most of the time, and working inside it would be 2 cars, 14 policewomen as decoys, with 2 plainclothesmen assigned to watch each policewoman. If and when the werewolf was sighted in the gray convertible, we'd automatically take over the police radio for the whole city, and Backstrand would direct the chase from headquarters. A little after 8, we had coffee and hamburgers, and we went to Ben's for a few hours. Ben tucked his kid in bed as usual, and then he laid down for a nap. I talked to his wife until I dozed off in the chair. At 11:30, she woke us up. I combed my hair, put on my coat. Cops' wives are like everybody else's. They worry. When we met Ed at headquarters, we did some last-minute checking on details with Backstrand for about a half an hour, and then we were all ready to go. By 5 minutes past 2, half the Dragnet crew pulled out of the police garage and scattered over the city to their places. By 2:35, the other half pulled out, and a few minutes later, Ben and I followed. At 3 minutes to 3 that morning, Backstrand took over communications and checked every car in the operation. It was a good start. Every man in his right place by the right time. The trap was set. All we needed now was to find our suspect, the werewolf, inside.
Control 4 to Unit 80K. Control 4 to Unit 80K.
80K to Control 4, go ahead.
This is Backstrand, standing by.
80K, roger, clear, KGPL. Okay, Ben. Now let's go find him.
I got a hunch, Joe. Let's try the Wilshire district first.
Sounds all right to me. Let's go. For the first hour and a half, we raked the Wilshire district back and forth. Not a sign. Then about 38 minutes past 4, we headed back for the downtown area and parked in an alley where we could double check on one of our policewomen decoys.
Here comes one of the gals now, Joe. Fat feet up. Bet her feet are almost as tarred as mine.
See anything else, Ben?
Nothing. Quiet as a church. No, wait a minute. Car just turned the corner. Heading up in the same direction she is. Joe, Joe, it's slowing down. Wait a minute. It's pulling up beside her. It's a gray convertible. It's him, Joe. Come on.
Ben, get out. He sees us. He's got a gun. You all right, Ben? Yeah, look at that guy take off. 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4. We've spotted the suspect. He's driving a gray Ford convertible, license 61 Robert 385. Suspect's headed east on Olympic from Alameda, driving without lights. Suspect is armed. He had a fast car and he knew how to drive it. We almost lost him twice. 2 minutes after we sighted him, Backstrand took over full radio control.
Control 4 to Unit 80K, your location?
80K to Control 4. We're traveling at a high rate of speed, headed east on Olympic, crossing Soto Street.
Control 4 to all units, stand by. Units 11A, 12, and 13R close in on the intersections at Olympic and Lorena. Units 41, 42, 45, and 104K move on the next 4 crossings east of that. To the north and south, units 105K, 14A, 17R, 43T. Block all main arteries.
Dragnet had pulled in like a noose around a 5-mile area. Ben and I hoped it was just a matter of time. Unit 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to 80K, go ahead.
He's headed north on Fresno Street, crossing Whittier Boulevard.
Attention all units. 80K now pursuing suspect north on Fresno from Whittier Boulevard. Units 15, 105K, 11R, and 18A block off the intersection on Fresno and 4.
Hey, Ben, up there ahead. What's he trying to do now? Look, he's turning around.
Yeah, and he's coming right for us. Watch it, Joe. Look out!
Pretty close. 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to 80K, go ahead.
Exchanging shots with suspect. Watch it, Ben. Here he comes again. Sure likes to use that gun, doesn't he?
Sure does. Hey, Joe, look. Look, he's turning east. He's running for Hollenbeck Park.
Yeah, 80K to Control 4.
Control 4, go ahead.
Suspect just drove up over curb and into Hollenbeck Park.
Control 4 to all units. Control 4 to all units. Converge on Hollenbeck Park. Suspect is in the park. He's armed. Use caution. Code 3.
There he is, Ben. Watch it.
Looks like a nice baseball game with all these headlines.
Yeah, come on. Let's get him.
Never say die, huh, Joe? Joe, can you get a shot at it?
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! I'll give up! Don't shoot!
Then step out in the open and get your hands in the air.
All right, I give up! But don't shoot!
You're a brave kid.
Yeah, come on. All right, you get your hands in the air. Come on, higher.
Joe, look out, he's got a knife.
I got him.
Joe, those women were right. He does look like a werewolf.
Yeah. You got your handcuffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Got a cigarette?
I've been out for an hour. Little place across the street. Maybe we can get some there.
Okay. There's the crew from the 41R. Hey, fellas, take him into robbery, will you?
Okay, Friday.
I think there's a vending machine in there.
Uh-huh. Say, you got some change for the cigarette machine, mister?
I think so. Say, who's that guy all them cops are after over in the park a little while ago? I picked up the werewolf. Been reading the paper. Yeah. You fellas cops?
Yeah.
Sure made it easy for you, didn't he? All you cops had to do was surround the little fella in the park. Nothing to it, huh?
Yeah, that's right, mister. Nothing to it. The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Walter Barton, known as the Werewolf, was tried and convicted and is now serving a full life sentence at the state penitentiary. This has been Dragnet, the third in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of C.B. Horrell, Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Sergeant Mario Victor Dairo of the Los Angeles Police Department, who, on the morning of January 1st, 1943, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You get a call that a woman has been badly beaten. The circumstances indicate foul play. Your job? Check it out. The nation's top golfers and sports writers have named Ben Hogan Professional Golfer of the Year. Ben, of course, smokes Chesterfields. But let's hear what he has to say about them himself.
I'm a Chesterfield smoker, and have been for 7 years. The reason's simple. Chesterfield is the best for me. They're milder, and they taste great. Try them yourself.
Take that suggestion from Ben Hogan today. Try Chesterfield, regular or king size. They're low in nicotine, highest in quality, really mild, really satisfying. Chesterfield, best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, November 17th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. We were on our way back from the main jail, and it was 11:27 p.m. when we got to room 42. Homicide.
We gotta get that car radio fixed, Joe. It's getting worse all the time.
Yeah, well, we can take it over in the morning.
Thing almost knocked me right out of the seat when I called in tonight. As soon as you press the button, bang, you get a shock.
Yeah, when I was out with Lopi yesterday, he picked up the mic. I thought he was going to climb right out of the window.
Yeah, well, that's pretty funny as long as you don't have to use the thing.
There must be a short someplace, huh?
Gotta get it fixed. You know, I must have used $1 worth of dimes calling in today. If this keeps up, I'm gonna have to give up lunches.
Well, that wouldn't hurt you either.
That's not kind, Joe. I've lost 7 pounds in the last 2 weeks.
Where?
I'm gonna see about a transfer.
Well, let's finish up this report so we can get out of here. What do you say?
Okay, I'm with you.
Hot shot, I get it. That's a robbery call, bar out in Olympic.
Oh, thought for a minute we were gonna have to go out. All I want to do is get home and get some dry socks on. My feet are killing me.
Yeah, well, I got an idea. If you'll stop talking and pick up a pencil, we can quit on time for a change. Another hot shot.
I'll get it. Get your hat. Beating out in Hollywood.
Yeah?
Woman found her laying in the gutter.
She's still alive?
Was when they got the call. We better step on it, though. They don't know how long she's going to last.
When we got to the address we'd been given by the complaint board, 2 radio cars from Hollywood Division were already there. An ambulance had arrived, and the crew was doing what they could for the victim. She was still alive, but the attendant said that she appeared to have a skull fracture in addition to possible internal injuries. From one of the officers who answered the call, we found that the victim had been sprawled across the sidewalk, her head in the gutter. Due to the heavy rain, a stream of water was running down and into a storm drain. The fact that the drain was above the victim's head appeared to be the only thing that saved her from drowning. The crime lab had been called, and the men from Hollywood Division were doing what they could to keep the crowd back in order to preserve any physical evidence that might have been left. The victim appeared to be a woman in her early 40s. The clothes she wore looked expensive, but they were badly torn. Her face was cut, and the men in the ambulance crew removed her immediately to Hollywood Emergency Hospital for treatment. An officer was assigned to her in the event she regained consciousness. When she was found, her left shoe was missing, and there was no sign of any purse or wallet. None of the people who'd gathered in the crowd could give us an identification of her. The homes in the vicinity were large, and the area was sparsely populated. The nearest house to the place where the victim was found was at least 300 feet down the street. We talked to the people in the crowd and found that the man who'd made the original call was still supposed to be there. We checked with the officers in the radio unit, but they said they hadn't seen him. From them, however, we found that the call had been from the home of a Mr. and Mrs. Roger Heflin. We contacted them, and they came back to the scene and pointed out the man. Frank and I took him over to our car for questioning.
All right, Johnson, you want to tell us what happened?
I don't know.
You called the police, didn't you?
Yeah, I called them.
You found her?
Yes, sir. She was lying in the street like that. I got scared and I called the police. I thought maybe she was dead.
What were you doing up here this time of night?
Just walking around.
You live up here, do you?
No.
Where do you live?
Got a room down at Fountain.
Let me see your identification, will you, please?
Oh, yeah. Here's my wallet.
Any money in it?
No.
All right, let me have it.
Yeah, here you are.
This your true name? Cecil August Johnson?
Yeah.
Who's Mary Johnson? I say, who's Mary Johnson? Who's she?
My sister.
Is her address here on the card?
Yeah. Hey, you aren't going to call her, are you? You aren't going to call her.
Why?
Well, she'd be pretty sore about it if you did. She don't like me for me to get mixed up with cops. She don't like it at all.
You ever been in an institution?
Hmm?
State institution. You ever been in one?
Yeah. I was in Camarillo once.
How long ago did you get out?
Oh, long time ago. 3 days. Long time ago. I haven't been there for a long time.
What were you there for?
Molesting people.
Who?
I was in Camarillo.
Why'd they send you there, fella?
To get well.
From what?
Just well.
Yeah, we know. What'd they want you to get well from?
I was never in Camarillo.
You haven't been drinking tonight, have you?
Hmm?
I said, you've been drinking.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where?
Bar down Highway Boulevard.
When they sent you to the hospital, what was the reason?
I never been to hospital.
You told us that you'd been in Camarillo.
Well, that was to get well.
Now, look, fella, we asked you before. What for?
They thought I was molesting people.
Were you?
No, I didn't hurt anybody.
Did they say you did?
Yeah.
Who?
A lady, they said I hit her.
Did you hit her?
Huh?
I said, did you hit the woman?
No, I never hurt anybody.
You know who the woman is that you found?
You aren't going to call my sister, are you?
Do you know who the woman is?
What woman?
Now, look, fella, pay attention. The one you found tonight.
Yeah, I've known her for a long time.
What's her name?
Grace.
You know her last name?
Do you know her last name?
No. You know, I never really been in Camarillo. I just told you that.
That's so? Why?
I don't know. Just sometimes I like to do things like that. I don't have no reason. I just like to do it. Like, once I told my sister I killed a man. She almost fainted. I just like to do that once in a while. Things get dull. I like to get them started.
Where'd you meet Grace?
Bar down in Hollywood. I go in there all the time. I met her there.
Did you meet her there tonight?
Yeah, she was there. Said she had a fight with her old man. Said they had a real beef. She told me he hit her. Belted her right in the mouth. What do you think of a guy do a thing like that to a woman? Any man do a thing like that, he's no good. No good at all. They said I did it, too. Told my sister I hit a woman.
Who said that?
Other cops when they arrested me.
When was this?
When I was at Camarillo to get well.
You under a doctor's care now?
No, I got real well at Camarillo, real well. They let me go.
You just got through telling us that you'd never been there.
I'm a liar. Can't believe anything I say. I'm a real liar. My sister's all the time saying that about me. She says I'm a liar. That's one of the reasons she used to get sore at me. I'm such a liar. I was never there.
You know where this Grace lived?
No, I think it was up on Ledgewood Drive. I think that's where it was, on Ledgewood Drive.
You know where the house is?
I never saw it. I was going to go up there one day and punch your old man in the nose. You know, because he hit Grace. I was plenty sore about it. He gave her a black eye. I was plenty sore. But I didn't. You know why?
You tell us.
Because I thought my sister'd get mad at me. She always gets mad when I get in fights. And when I lie. She's real sore. Got no sense of humor. There's a guy at the hospital had a real sense of humor. He was funny. He had a piece of inner tube and he wore it like a hat. Floppy, you know? He had a real great sense of humor. But my sister, she don't like anybody to laugh.
How many times you been arrested, fella?
Maybe a couple.
Here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, all the time in L.A. Cops here don't like me. They got no sense of humor. None. Never saw such dull cops.
All right, Johnson, we'll wait here. We got a few things to check out and then we want to take you downtown.
You aren't going to arrest me, are you?
We'll see.
Well, I hope not. My sister, she'd be real sore.
Johnson? Tell me something. Did you hit her?
You mean, did I hit Grace? Is that what you mean?
That's what I mean.
No. I met her tonight and she asked me to take a walk with her. We'd take a walk, that's all. Then all of a sudden she was lying on the ground. I was pretty drunk. I didn't know what happened. Just all of a sudden she was there and I got scared and I called the cops. But I didn't hit her. I wouldn't do a thing like that to Grace, not me. You believe that, don't you? Well, don't you? You gotta buy it. You got it, because it's the truth.
Is that right?
Sure, it's the truth. Every word.
Well, you said it yourself, didn't you? You're an awful liar. 12:52 a.m. While one of the officers from a radio unit stood by with Cecil Johnson, we talked with Lieutenant Lee Jones from the crime lab. He told us that what footprints they'd found in the immediate vicinity of the victim had been destroyed by the rain. He told us that his crew was unable to find any useful physical evidence. The area was searched, but we failed to find either the missing left shoe or the woman's purse, if she'd carried one. We put in a call to the Hollywood Receiving Hospital. Dr. Elwin Terrell told us that the victim was suffering from a fracture of the skull and apparently several broken ribs. He told us that the woman was in a deep coma and she couldn't be questioned at that time. We asked him to contact us through the business office in the event that she regained consciousness. We questioned the people in the neighborhood, but they were of no aid. None of them recalled hearing any automobiles on the streets, and none of them could testify as to the people loitering in the area. 1:10 a.m. We took Cecil Johnson and had him detained at the city jail pending further investigation. A check of his record showed that he'd been sent to Camarillo twice on charges of molesting in violation of Section 245 PC. He'd been released into the custody of his sister 3 weeks previously. Before he was placed in a cell, we got the name and address of the bar where he said he'd met the woman he called Grace. 1:40 a.m. Frank and I drove out to the place. It was located on Hollywood Boulevard near Las Palmas Avenue. There was only one other customer in the place when we went in. The bartender was cleaning up for the night.
What'll it be?
We're looking for Emil.
I'm him. What do you want? It's not about that lousy Jackie, is it?
What's that?
You're cops, aren't you? Isn't this about Jackie?
We're police officers, yeah.
You gotta understand, I thought he was an actor. You know, I thought he was just hanging around the place to take work calls. That's what he told me. I didn't have no way of knowing different. It's the truth.
We don't know anything about Jackie. We'd like to ask you some questions about a man named Cecil Johnson.
That crackpot? You know, I thought you were after me because of Jackie. Oh, there it goes again. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hello? Here it is. No, he ain't here anymore. What? I don't care how the horse did. Jackie ain't here. Now, don't call me no more. You see, this guy Jackie's a book. All the time he's using my phone, and I don't know it. Yesterday, a couple of cops come in and put the arm on him. All day, the phone's been ringing.
Yeah.
From what they say, he's lucky he got arrested. He must have lost his shirt yesterday. Horse came in that paid 20 to 1. Boy, he really must have had it.
I see. What do you know about this Cecil Johnson?
That creep. Real creep.
Did you see him tonight?
Yeah, he was in.
About what time?
Let's see, it was just before the fight on TV. That'll make it about 6:45. Yeah, about then, about 6:45.
He come in alone?
Oh, yeah, always does. He don't have no friends.
What time did he leave, do you remember?
Well, we stayed around and watched the fight. Got into an argument with the guy, then he left about, let's see, I guess it must have been about 9:30, 9:45.
You know a woman named Grace? We understand she's in here quite a bit.
Grace, huh? Well, we got a couple of Graces come in here. What's yours look like?
About 42, dark hair, wearing a tweed coat.
Excuse me a minute, huh?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, it is. No, he's not here. He won't be back, so stop calling. I don't care if it did pay that. Look, but I got no part in the action. Now, forget the number, huh? Jackie's gone. He's in the can. Yeah, he's pinched. Now, lay off, huh? Now, let's see. Dark hair, tweed coat. Oh, yeah, that'll be Grace Dillon.
Dillon?
Yeah, she's pretty much of a regular. Yeah, I guess so. Dillon. I guess that's the way to spell it. Well, what's all the questions? Something wrong?
What time was she in here tonight?
Who says she was?
Well, that's what we understand.
Oh. Oh, yeah, well, there's nothing wrong around here. No reason not to cooperate. She was here, come in about 8.
What time did she leave?
Well, I guess it was 9:30, 9:45.
Did she leave alone?
I gotta think about that. Lots of people in here with the fights, you know. Let me think. I'm gonna tear that thing right out of the wall. He ain't here. He's been pinched. I don't know when he'll be back, and I don't care. You know, come to think about it, I think she left with that Cecil.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Did either one of them have much to drink, do you know?
Well, Cecil had a couple of beers. That's all he needs. Don't take much with him.
How about the Dillon woman?
She was feeling no pain when she got here. Really carrying a load. I finally told her to take a walk, told her I couldn't serve her no more. That's when she left. Her and Cecil were sitting right there next to each other. When I told her I wouldn't pour no more for her, she got hacked and her and Cecil left.
You know where she lived?
Not right off. I can look it up. We keep a list of people who come in here. Send them announcements about things, like when we get a new piano player, things like that.
I see.
I can look it up for you. Just take a minute.
Fine, thanks.
C, A, B, C. Oh, here it is. Darby, Dexter, Dibbs. I wished he'd come in and pick up the tab with me. Oh, let's see here. Here it is. 2917 Ledgewood Drive.
2917. Thank you.
You can take the card if you want. Don't make any difference to me if she never comes back. The way she carried on tonight. People just don't understand.
What's that?
You can just serve them so much. After that, you're pouring 100 proof trouble. You gotta shut them off sometime.
Did she ever come in here with her husband?
Dillon?
Yeah.
A couple of times. Quite a while ago, though. They came in late one night. Sat back there in the booth. Had a couple of quick belts. He drinks Irish whiskey. Likes it neat. They had a big beef. I finally had to go back and ask him to go out. He's a real bum. He's mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The kind of guy where to know him is to hate him. You know the kind?
Yeah.
He ain't here. I don't care how much you lost. He's in the can and what? What? Oh, yeah, honey. Well, I didn't know it was you. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'll be home early as soon as I close up. Right. Yeah, well, I do, too. What? All right, honey. I love you. I do too, me. Look, honey, there's a couple of men here I gotta talk to. Oh, yeah, as soon as I close up, yeah. Goodbye, honey. What? Oh, yeah, all right. There, bye. It's the wife. We've just been married a couple of weeks. She's kind of you know.
Yeah. Did Dillon ever hit his wife, would you know?
Yeah, he did. She came in here one night with a mouse that had no end. Said her old man gave it to her. Say, what's all this about anyway? There's something wrong with Grace? Something happened to her?
Well, we don't know yet.
Well, let me give you this for free. If there's anything happened to her, 6 to 1 even was her own man. He's a real bum. He's mean. Anything wrong, and it's him that caused it. You better talk to him. You'll find out.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, we will. Thanks.
No, not at all. Glad to help out.
All right. Good night.
Say, you guys going downtown?
Yeah, that's right.
To the jail?
Yeah.
Well, if you see Jackie, will you give him a message for me?
All right. What's that?
Tell him if he gets out, I don't want him back here no more.
Okay.
Guy ties up my phone.
$2:26 a.m. We got a description of the victim's husband and checked the name through R&I. We were unable to come up with any criminal record on him. Frank and I drove out to the address given us by the bartender. It was a large English stucco house 5 blocks from where Grace Dillon had been found. We rang the bell and waited. An elderly woman answered the door and told us that Herman Dillon was not in. She explained that she was a babysitter and that she'd been called to take care of the couple's 3 children. She went on to say that Mr. Dillon had left the house at approximately 10:15 p.m. and had not yet returned. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout to be set up on the house. While we waited for the officers to arrive, the babysitter told us that the Dillons had constant fights. She said that on several occasions, Mr. Dillon had threatened to kill his wife if she didn't spend more time at home taking care of the children. She went on to explain that there'd been an argument that evening, and that after a loud fight, the wife had left the house. After she'd been gone for over an hour, Herman Dillon left to find her. 3:02 a.m. The officers arrived. We asked them to wait for the husband to return and then to notify us immediately. Frank and I drove downtown and checked into the crime lab. We talked with Lieutenant Lee Jones regarding his findings. He told us that he'd gone over the victim's clothing, but he was unable to find any physical evidence to help us in finding her assailant. At 3:46 a.m., we checked into the office and put in a call to the hospital.
How do you spell that, Doc? Huh? Yeah. A-D-E. Yes, sir. Do you have any idea when that might be? I see, sir. Mm-hmm. Well, if you'll let us know. Right. Yeah, the business office here will know how to reach us. Right. Thanks again. Good night, Doc.
How is she?
Well, the doctor says he's finished his examination. She's got a frontal bone fracture, 3 broken ribs, cuts, and contusions.
She's gonna be all right?
Yeah, you think so? So she might come out of it any time. Says it looks like she might have been thrown from a car.
Well, that'd explain the missing shoe and purse, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You have any idea when we can talk to her?
No, might not do any good anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, the doc says this kind of fracture can produce a retrograde amnesia.
Huh?
She won't remember anything.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. It's taking place at your dealers, cigarette dealers coast to coast.
Smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield. Join them today, and you'll be smoking the only cigarette that gives you proof of low nicotine, highest quality. I want you to know that's a matter of record. And so's this. As I've been telling you, Chesterfield is the only cigarette with this proven record with smokers. No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield. Good reasons why you should change to Chesterfield? You bet. Ask for Chesterfield. Regular or king size, best for you.
a.m. Frank and I signed out of the office and we went home. At 5:13 a.m., I got a call that the husband of the victim, Herman Dillon, had returned home. The officers who called said that they were bringing him down to the city hall. I got in touch with Frank, and by the time we got to the squad room, Dillon was already there. He appeared dazed and acted as if he'd been drinking heavily. We sent out for some black coffee for him. He apparently didn't know what had happened to his wife.
What's all this about, anyway? What are you dragging me out of my house like this for?
Got a few questions we want to ask you, Dillon.
What do you got that's so important you got to go through it at 6 in the morning?
When'd you see your wife last?
About 7:30 last night. Why?
How do you and your wife get along?
We've been married for 10 years.
Not much of an answer, mister.
You're not married. Been married 10 years, and it's an answer. Been married 10 years, it's all the answer you need.
Well, maybe you better spell it out for me.
After that long, you have a few disagreements. Bound to. You know, being together all that time.
You and your wife have a disagreement last night, did you?
Yeah, we had a discussion.
What about?
I don't think that's any of your business.
Yeah, well, maybe it is. Now, what'd you argue about?
We're running around. Wasn't a real argument, just a discussion.
When we got it, it was more than that.
And you got it wrong.
We heard you hit her a couple of times.
That's a lie. I might have shoved her a little. She had it coming, though, all the time running around. We got 3 kids, 3 little kids, and she doesn't care that for them. Always going out, hanging around those cheap bars, boozing it up. I came home the other night, she'd walked out and left the kids all alone, all by themselves. Didn't even get a sitter for them.
Where you been tonight?
Why? Why you have to know that?
You want to tell us?
Yeah. After Grace and me had the fight, she walked out. I waited for her to come home, then when she didn't, I went out to find her.
Did you?
Hmm?
Did you find her?
No, I looked all over for her. All the bars along the boulevard, but she wasn't there.
Where you been since the bars closed?
Walking around.
In all this rain?
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out what to do, trying to make up my mind.
About what?
What I should do with Grace. Things can't go on like this. They just can't.
We've heard from some of your wife's friends that you made threats in their lives, is that right?
Who told you that?
We just heard it. Is it true?
I suppose so. If I'd have found her tonight, I'd have maybe killed her. I've never been so mad before.
You see anybody you knew tonight?
What?
When you were walking around, did you see anybody you knew?
No, why?
When you got no way to prove where you were.
Why'd I have to do that?
Might make things easier on you.
Hey, what's this all about anyway? Why are you asking all these questions about me and Grace? What are you trying to say? Where is Grace, you know?
Yeah.
Well, where is she? What's happened to her?
She's in the hospital. She's had an accident. It's pretty bad.
What kind of an accident?
Looks like she was beaten.
And you think I did it?
Might have been you.
She's alive?
Yeah.
You think I beat her up?
Did you?
No, I maybe wanted to, knock some sense into her, but I didn't do it.
You prove where you were tonight?
Why?
Can you prove where you were?
No, I don't even know myself. Hey, you really think I did it?
That's what we're trying to find out.
You know, I was pretty drunk tonight. I got real loaded. That's terrible.
Yeah, let me see your hands, will you?
What?
Let me see them.
All right.
Put them up there, both of them.
Yeah.
Where'd you get those bruises?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You better try. This is pretty important.
I told you I was drunk.
There's only one thing that'll put bruises like that on your hands.
Yeah?
You hit something pretty hard. Herman Dillon was detained pending further investigation. We called the hospital, but there was no change in Mrs. Dillon's condition. Because of the lack of physical evidence, her testimony was essential in apprehending the person who'd beaten her. We had 2 prime suspects. Cecil Johnson, who was known to have been in her company when she left the bar. Johnson's record indicated that he was capable of committing the crime. On the other hand, the victim's husband had stated that he might kill her. He was unable to explain his movements at the time of the attack. The only person who could tell us the true story was the victim herself, and we had the doctor's statement that she might not remember the events immediately leading up to the beating. At 10:14 a.m. the following morning, the officer called from the hospital telling us that Mrs. Dillon had regained consciousness and could be questioned. The doctor told us that she was calling for her husband and asked that we bring Dillon with us. We went by the city jail and picked him up, and then we drove over to the hospital. The doctor told us that Mrs. Dillon was in a weak condition and that we couldn't talk to her at any length. Frank, Dillon, and I went into her room and waited for her to open her eyes.
That's you, Herman?
Yes, dear.
You're not mad at me, are you? You're not still mad at me?
No, dear, I'm not.
Oh, this guy. I was afraid you still were mad. You know, Herman, you shouldn't have hit me like you did. I know maybe I had a reason, but you shouldn't have hit me.
Can you tell us what happened, Mrs. Dillon?
Who are you?
Police officers.
What are you doing here?
Trying to find out who did this to you.
Wasn't anybody did it.
Ma'am?
Wasn't anybody. I did it myself. Really did it all by myself.
I don't believe I understand, Miss Dillon.
Herman and me had a fight, and I walked out. I was going to leave him. Went down and had a few drinks, just a few, and I got to thinking about me and Herman. I was such a bad wife. I got to thinking about the kids and how I was a bad mother. You're not still mad at me, are you, Herman? Really, in your heart?
No, Grace, I'm glad you're going to be all right. That's all that counts.
You want to tell us what happened, Miss Dillon, please?
I was on my way home. I was going back. Cecil was walking home with me. It was raining pretty hard, and we came to a gutter that was full of water. I stepped up on the curb to go around it. I didn't want to step in the water, and I fell. Fell down the hill, rolled all the way to the bottom, all the way to the next street. I remember falling. I remember laying in the street down below and how I couldn't move. I didn't know about anything else after that. Till just when you got here, Len, I don't remember much of anything.
You mean that you fell down yourself, but nobody beat you up, huh?
No. Herman hit me when I was home. He got mad at me and hit me. But he was right. You were right, honey. Real right. But it's going to be different, I promise you. Just as long as you ain't still mad at me. That's all that matters, that you ain't mad.
Now, take it easy, honey. Everything's going to be all right. Just take it easy and try to get some sleep.
I love you, Herman. I love you very much. And I'm going to make it all up to you, all the bad times. I'm going to make it all up to you.
I love you too, Grace. Now, you go to sleep. Get some rest.
All right, honey.
All right, thank you, Miss Dillon. We better go.
You gonna want me anymore, Sergeant?
No, I don't think so.
Wonder if she means it. If she really does.
What's that?
About making it up to the kids, how things are gonna be different.
Well, I don't know. She said she would.
That's just it. She said it so many times before.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 18th, a meeting was held in the captain's office homicide division. In a moment, the results of that meeting.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, we've been getting letters from people all over the country telling us that they've switched to Chesterfield. Now, just as I've been telling you, thousands of smokers are changing to Chesterfield because only Chesterfield gives proof of low nicotine, highest quality. That's why I recommend you try them today. Regular or king size, Chesterfields are really mild, really satisfying. Best for you.
Since no crime had been committed, no legal action was taken against Mr. and Mrs. Dillon. Cecil August Johnson was removed to room 5, Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for further psychiatric examination. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Jack Crucian, Vivi Janis, Harry Bartell. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork tip Fatima? It's the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Fatima is made and guaranteed by Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company. Try Fatima today.
Here's another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide. There's a mad killer at large in your city. A woman has been brutally slain, the body mutilated. The picture is clear. The killer has a thirst for blood. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, transcribed in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, From crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, January 12th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the morgue, and it was 11:23 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe. Chief wants to see you. He's in there with Romero.
Thanks, Chandler. How's the wife?
Fine. How about your mother?
Better, thanks.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Friday, sit down. Did they post the body in?
In the morning. Pretty messy. Strangled and mutilated.
The guy's a maniac, Skipper. The body shows it.
A murder like this, anybody's a suspect.
The coroner looked at the body. He says the weapon was a long, sharp instrument.
Found her in a hotel down on East 3rd Street. Manager's son discovered her about 7:30.
You talked to him?
It's too much for him. He passed out. Manager wasn't home. We'll check with him before midnight.
Close to it now, Joe. We better get going.
All right. The boys from the crime lab check the room?
They're still down there, Ed. The place is a mess.
Get back as soon as you can. We're working straight through on this thing.
That's a hot shot.
I'll get it.
At the Lux Hotel, room 219, corner of South Grand and Cordova. Dead body. Possible homicide. The Lux Hotel, room 219, corner of South Grand and Cordova. Dead...
What is it, Friday?
Lux Hotel, possible homicide.
Busy night.
Yeah. You coming, Ed?
Right. Let's go.
Six minutes later, Ed Backstrand, Ben, and I pulled up in front of the Lux Hotel. The manager met us at the door and led the way up a narrow stairway to the second floor. The room number was 219. We were prepared for the worst. We got it.
You're right, Romero. The guy must be a maniac.
Two hotels, two murders. The same M.O. Three of us made a brief inspection of the room at the Lux Hotel. We took a few notes on the appearance of the girl's body and a brief description. Apparently, she'd been strangled to death first, and then her body brutally mangled. Ben and I went back down to the lobby. The manager, Mr. Ford, showed us the house book. The girl was registered together with a man, Mr. and Mrs. Philip Grant. We took the hotel register to have it checked for fingerprints and to photostat the handwriting. Ben notified the crime lab. Then we went back to the room and questioned the manager.
Mr. and Mrs. Philip Grant, that's all I know. I never saw either one of them before tonight.
When did they check in, Mr. Ford?
About 3 hours ago. That's right, about 9. Maybe a little before.
Did they register together?
Yeah, a little before 9. They came in together.
Did you let them in the room?
Yes, sir, like I always do. It's a small place here, maybe not first class, but I treat people right.
What did the man look like? You remember?
I think so. Kind of tall. Young, maybe 30 or so. Husky fella, had a mustache.
How tall would you say, Mr. Ford?
Oh, about your height, Wade. Must have been at least 180. Seemed like a nice fella.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
I think so. People sure don't act like they look. You think it was him?
Can you think of anybody else?
Well, no. I never saw him before tonight, either one of them. I don't know anything about it.
Did you notice anything in particular about them when they came in?
Well, he didn't show it, but it looked like she'd been drinking a little. Giggling, you know.
And you didn't see this man Grant leave the hotel?
No, I didn't. I must have been checking the account books back of the desk. Guess he got by me.
Is there a back entrance to the hotel, Mr. Ford?
No, he had to come out this way, all right.
How about the fire escape?
I never thought of that. Say, I bet you cops think I'm trying to hide something.
How did you happen to find the body?
I don't know anything about it, honest. I've been running the hotel for 10 years now. Everybody knows me around here. You can ask at the bank.
All right, Mr. Ford. Now, would you mind telling us how you happened to find the body?
I don't want a lot of lousy newspaper publicity. Give the place a bad name. Can you blame me?
The newspapers won't get your name from us. All we want to know is how you happened to find the body.
Well, I told you. It's a small place here, but I like to treat people right. A couple hours after they checked in, I remembered I forgot to fill the ice water pitcher in the room. So I got some and took it up. The door was opened a little ways. It's got a bad catch on it.
and the lights were on. I peeked in, and there she was. She was... Well, the guy must have been crazy.
Do you remember what time it was when you found her?
Well, just before I called the cops, about 11:30, I guess.
All right, Ford, that's all for now. When the other officers get here, show them up, will you?
Yes, sir, I sure will.
Romero?
Yes, Skipper?
Get on the phone downstairs and call the Metropolitan Division. Have them send us every available man from the reserve unit. We're going to patrol the area for the rest of the night.
Right, Chief.
Least we can do is make it hard for him. 2 murders in 7 hours.
Both of them in a 3-block radius.
Same pattern. It's got to be the same guy.
All right, we got a description. What do you think?
When the reserve unit shows up, have them cover this whole section of town. Pick up everybody who even comes close to that guy's description.
All right, Ed.
It's got to go fast. We can't lose a minute. 1 hour either way, it might mean another body. Like this one.
9 minutes later, at 4 minutes past midnight, the men from the crime lab showed up. It started to drizzle. They went over the room in detail. They dusted everything in the room for fingerprints, the walls, the doors, the fixtures in the bathroom, the lamps, chairs, everything. They took samples of the girl's blood and her lipstick. Small pieces of flesh and human hair were found under the girl's fingernails. The nails were scraped carefully and the contents put in an envelope, marked and sealed. Ed Backstrand ordered pictures taken of the room and the girl's body from different angles. Every object in the room that could have any possible tie-in with a murder was photographed. It was raining. The rear of the hotel where the fire escape was overlooked a vacant lot. Ben had a hunch. While the lab men were at work, we left the hotel and circled around into the lot for a look at the ground directly underneath the fire escape ladder. It was raining hard now.
Must be an easier way to make a living. Mud's almost up to my knees.
Mine too. Watch your step. See any prints?
No. Wait till my wife sees these new shoes.
Put it on your expense account.
All real fun.
Ben, get that light over here. Look.
Yeah. Good set of prints. Lucky that rain didn't start turning to wash them out by now.
Yeah, hand me that cover from the trash can over there. I'll cover them. Wait a minute.
What?
Here, on the edge of the fire escape ladder.
Small hunk of cloth. Man suit?
Well, looks like it. Might have caught himself in that sharp corner. I got it. All right, come on, let's get back.
Yeah, out of this mud bath. Joe, let me have a light.
You catch anything?
Hunk of wrapping paper in that trash can. Stains on it.
Open it up.
Look.
Yeah, butcher knife. We went back to the Lux Hotel, room 219. The lab men were tearing the room apart. It was 10 minutes to 1. We gave the blood-stained knife and the piece of cloth we found on the fire escape to Lieutenant Lee Jones, head of the crime lab. We told him about the footprints just below the fire escape ladder.
The knife will help us, so will the cloth. I don't know about the footprints. You say you covered them?
That's right, Lee. They still look in pretty good shape.
Maybe we can do something if the rain hasn't broken them down too bad. Bracken.
Yeah, Lieutenant?
You and Sloan get downstairs and take a look at those prints. They're good enough. Get a torch, dry them out, and make a cast, right?
Okay, Lieutenant. Come on, Sloan.
That's about all I can do for you now, Ed. I think we got everything there is to get.
All right, Jones. I'll follow you back to the lab in a couple of minutes.
Okay, Ed.
Good luck, fellas.
Thanks, Lee. We're going to need it.
All right, Friday. Romero, it's your baby for the rest of the night.
Lee, get anything?
A few prints, a woman's purse under the bed. Don't know if it's hers or not. No identification.
You going to be at the crime lab, Ed?
All night. As soon as we find anything, I'll let you know. Yeah?
Gang of cops just came in the lobby. They asked for you.
Must be the reserve men from Metropolitan. Tell them we'll be right down, Ford.
Okay.
You want us to handle it, Ed?
That's right. Do just as I told you. Spread them out over the whole area. Cover the streets, the alleys, the flop houses, restaurants, bars, everything. You got a description to go on. Find the man that fits it.
Right, Skipper.
Don't forget, the guy's a killer twice over. I don't think he'd hesitate on you. Be careful.
We went down to the lobby, and Ed Backstrand gave the reserve men their orders. Then Backstrand left, and Ben and I took over. We picked up another half-dozen men in addition to the men in the reserve unit. They were deployed over an area of a dozen square blocks. It was one of the toughest sections of the city. With a general description of the suspect, Some of them were to travel on foot, some in cruising cars. A few minutes before 1 a.m., there was a steady downpour. Visibility was bad. At 3 minutes past 1, the manhunt was on. For the first 30 minutes, Ben and I cruised the general area between East 3rd and College Streets and Alameda and Figueroa. No sign. The rain kept on. We sat and listened to the calls come in.
12A, call your station. 12A, KMA 367. Attention, all units. Recovered license plates in the 6th column. 4 Young, 7690. 41R, 788 Standard Avenue at 373. 41R, KMA 367. Unit 71 at 2816 West La Cienega, a 507 party.
What do you think, Joe? Any hunches?
I think he's still around, somewhere inside these 12 blocks. I'd bet on it.
5?
All right, you're on.
Want to check out a couple of these bars along here? Getting on to closing time.
It's a good idea. Pull over, huh? All right, let's check them for the next couple of blocks, huh?
Right.
For the next 6 blocks until closing time, Ben and I checked every bar and every informant we met along the way. The questions got to be automatic. Have you seen a man answering this description? Tall, dark, about 5 feet 11, 180 pounds, well-built, mustache, about 30 years old. The answer's got to be automatic, too.
Sorry, officer, I haven't seen him.
No, can't remember him. Try the place down the street.
We kept on checking the bars until they closed for the night. Then we started on the all-night restaurants and coffee houses. We did plenty of legwork for the next hour. Not a trace. About 2:30, the rain let up a little, and then it started in heavy all over again.
That finishes that block.
Yeah, I better get the radio on.
Yeah. Beautiful weather.
Fire the bucket full. You want to smoke?
Thank you.
Control 4 to Unit 80K.
Is
Your
that a match?
location,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
80K, your location. KMA 367.
That's us, Joe. You want to take it?
Yeah, I got it. 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4. Our location, corner of Alameda and Commercial. KMA 367.
80K, stand by.
Something doing.
Maybe. No, hold on a minute.
Control 4 to 80K. Go to the crime lab, code 2.
80K to Control 4, KMA 367.
Crime lab. Maybe those prints paid off.
Well, I hope so. Let's go.
That killer sure picked fine weather to work in. Feels like I just been swimming in these clothes.
Yeah, I hope those guys in the crime lab have the heater on.
A hot bath and a warm bed lead me on.
Attention, all units.
Hold it. Let's get the radio.
All units. At 420 St. John's Place, a woman screaming. At 420 St. John's Place, a woman...
All right, double around, Ben. Hit the siren. I'll get the light.
Right, hold on. Left turn on the market, is that right?
Yeah, watch out for those car tracks. They're wet.
Hold on again.
The alley up ahead to your right, huh? All right, pull up, Ben. Put the street light over there.
There you are.
All right, come on. Let's go.
Over here!
All right, what happened? Let's have it.
This girl, Rita, she was coming home up the street. A man, he tried to grab her. He slashed her coat. Look at her. I saw him as he ran under the streetlight.
Where'd he go?
Down that way, down the alley, over that fence there. A big man.
Davis, you there?
Yeah, Joe.
All right, Ben, go with Davis. Circle behind the alley. See what you can find. I'll call in.
All right, come on, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, but look at her face. What's wrong with her?
Severe state of shock, it looks like. Get her in the house, huh? I'll call an ambulance. 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4.
Control 4, go ahead.
Direct all units in the vicinity to converge on area around St. John's Place from Jackson to Banning Street. A woman attacked by large man with knife. Suspect left seen on foot. Possibly still in area. Request ambulance. KMA 367.
80K, roger, stand by. Attention, all units. Attention, all units.
Converge on area around St. John's Place, Jackson to Banning Street. ADK reports woman attacked by large man with knife. Suspect left scene on foot.
In 3 minutes, the area around St. John's Place was surrounded. For the next hour, the men combed the neighborhood back and forth. Every building, every storehouse in the 2 square blocks was searched from basement to attic. No trace. The girl, Rita, was hysterical. She could give us only a bare description of her attacker. At 3:45 a.m., a detail was assigned to patrol the area, and the rest of the cars and men were deployed again in the general area from Figueroa to Alameda Street and East 3rd to College Street. The manhunt went on. So did the rain. At 3:54, Ben and I checked in at the Old City Jail building, 2nd floor, the crime lab. Chief Ed Backstrand and Lee Jones were waiting for us.
Heard about the call. How'd he get away?
Not sure it was him, Skipper.
How do you mean?
Well, the girl wasn't hurt bad for one thing. No attempted strangling. For another thing, the guy stole her purse. That doesn't sound like the man we're after.
Did you get a description from the girl?
Didn't jibe too well, what she gave us. She was pretty hysterical.
And you raked the neighborhood good?
Every corner. Not a sign. Do you find anything?
Yeah. Jones?
Good.
Fill them in, will you?
Not one print on that knife you found, boys. Blood, but not a print. Your killer's crazy like a fox.
And how about the scrapings from the girl's fingernails, Lee?
Didn't help too much, rarely do. Not enough to go on. Gotta have a fair-sized bit of flesh to run it for papal ridges. All we found under the girl's fingernails were small bits of skin.
Yeah?
She probably scratched the guy up some. Might have drawn blood. We had more luck with the footprints.
You get an impression?
Dried out the ground with torches and cast them. About size 10B.
That's fine, Lee. But how about the prints?
Only good one was a thumb. Real good. Got it off the wall near the light switch in the bathroom.
You classified yet?
Yep. Found it in our single fingerprint file. The print belongs to a man by the name of Long. Robert Long.
You got a record, Ed?
Yeah. Misdemeanor. 2 arrests for drunkenness last October. Petty theft in December. The mama sheet shows a dishonorable discharge from the United States Coast Guard in 1946. Age 29, 192 pounds, 5 feet 10 inches, dark hair, dark eyes.
That's close enough.
We got even closer, Joe. Long works as a counterman at the Cottage Cafe down on South Flower. Started there last week on the early morning shift, but he didn't show up for work last night.
Good. Where'd you get the tip?
The knife you boys found. Didn't have any prints, but it had a brand on it. We ran it down. It was taken from the Cottage Cafe.
Mm-hmm. Any address on this Robert Long, Ed?
Yeah, got it from his boss. Rooming house on East 1st. Landlady says he hasn't been home in 2 nights.
Yeah, now we wait.
Rooming house is staked out, and so is the Cottage Cafe, just in case Long decides to show up for work this morning. What time you got, Romero?
6 minutes past 4.
All right. We've got every indication that Robert Long's the man we're after. His description, fingerprints, the knife, footprint, his size. Maybe we're wrong. I don't think so.
How about a motive, Ed?
I think Robert Long likes to kill. He's thirsty for it. None of the victims were criminally attacked. They were strangled. Bodies mutilated.
How about robbery?
No. 2 of the women he killed had money in their purses. Didn't touch it.
Well, what's next, Skipper? Back on the street?
Figueroa to Alameda, East 3rd to College Street. Keep a net around that area and work it back and forth until we're positive he's not inside. I think he is.
At 10 minutes past 4 a.m., Ed Backstrand, Ben, and I left the crime lab and drove to the surrounded area. It was still raining. We passed several patrolmen from the reserve unit making the rounds. They didn't look any more comfortable than we felt. At Broadway and Alpine Street, Ben and I got out and started patrolling on foot again. Backstrand followed in the car to maintain a radio check. We must have covered 24 blocks and a half a dozen coffee counters before we got to the Criterion Restaurant and Donut Shop, a few blocks up the street from the Cottage Cafe.
Hey, Skipper, you want to take a minute for some hot coffee? I'll keep an ear on the radio.
You 2 go ahead. You look drenched.
Yeah, we are. Can we bring you some back in a paper carton?
Fine, thanks. Cream. No sugar.
All right, Ed. Come on, Ben.
Place is empty.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, gentlemen. What'll it be? Hot coffee?
Yeah, there's 2 of us here. Can you fix up 1 to go?
Sure thing.
Say, on that 1 to go, cream, no sugar.
Right. Say, you fellas cops?
Yeah, why?
No offense, just wondering. Here you are.
Thank you.
Cop in uniform was around a couple hours ago. Wanted to know if I'd seen some guy he was looking for.
Tall, about 190 pounds, mustache, about 30 years old.
Yeah, that's the description he gave me. He was looking for the guy.
So are we.
Say, that's good. That other cop came in right at my busiest time, a little after 2 when the bars closed. You know, it gets pretty rushed, and I didn't have much time to think, so I just said no. Then after the cop left, I remembered.
You saw a man answering that description tonight?
Yeah. I would have told the cop, but I was rushed. You know how it is. No time to think, and then I remembered.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm sure, all right. Whoever he is, he's a lady killer.
What do you mean?
No offense. There was a sharp-looking dame down the end of the counter, and this guy breezes in and picks her up. Talks to her about 20 minutes, buys her a cup of coffee, and they walk out together.
You remember what she looked like?
Oh, nice-looking dame. Not beautiful, you know, more on the cute side.
Ben, you got that morgue shot?
Oh, yeah.
Here it is. Thanks. Here's a picture. This the girl?
Let's see. Yeah, that's her. Who is she?
I don't know, mister. Down at the morgue, they call her Jane Doe, number 7. Just by accident, we'd come across a concrete lead on the killer's method of operation. The picture we showed the man in the donut shop was a shot of the Strangler's first victim the night before. Evidently, the killer would enter a bar, coffee shop, or restaurant, strike up a conversation with a woman, make friends with her, either buy her drinks or invite her to a bar in the neighborhood, and then the rest of the puzzle was still unsolved. We went back to the Cottage Cafe and checked with the men on Stakeout.
Not a sign of them, Chief.
How are you men covering the place?
Baxter up in front and the booth across from the cash register. Lyman's back with the dishwashers. I'm at the counter.
When's Long due to report for work, Dave?
At 5. About 20 minutes to go.
You're lucky you're inside. It's wet out there.
You'll look it.
All right, Davis. We'll be around about 5.
Right, Chief.
Let's get back in the car.
Where to, Skipper?
Cruise the next 2 blocks, but don't go too far. If Long shows up for work this morning, we want to be around.
The next 10 minutes dragged by. The rain kept on. Backstrand chewed nervously on a cigar. At South Flower and First Street, the sewers were clogged with street refuse. The rain backed up and filled the intersection. A group of aircraft workers huddled together in the doorway on one corner, waiting for the bus. It was cold and damp. I opened one of the back windows in the car to get some fresh air in. Off in the distance and close by, you could hear the sounds of a big city waking up slow to a rainy January morning. It was 8 minutes to 5.
Attention all units. Attention all units. At 780 East Main, a restaurant. Man answering description of murder suspect.
All right, Romero, step on it.
Right, Skipper.
About 10 blocks away, Ed. Who's going to cover the men at the Cottage Cafe?
If this is a blind lead, it won't take us long to find out. They can handle it alone if they have to.
Hang on. Look out. We're skidding.
That was a close one, Ben.
Yeah. If this is the guy, I owe you $5, right?
Yeah.
Attention all units. Additional information on your call to 780 East Main. Officers in pursuit of suspect. Suspect is on foot.
Step on it, Romero.
Attention all
2 more blocks, Skipper.
Watch it, Ben. Next one to the left.
Got it.
That's the joint up ahead there.
All right, watch your step and don't take chances. Don't play with him.
Right.
Here we go. He went out the back, ran down that alley.
Come on, Ben.
Behind you?
You men, hustle it. Circle around the block and choke off the alley. Fast. Emerson, boom. Go in the right.
All right, over the fence, Ben. Ben, look out, look out. You all right?
It's not that good. Come on, Joe. All right. There he goes. Between the buildings.
Stop or I'll shoot.
The next house. He ducked into the basement.
All right, cover me.
Right.
Come on, he broke through the garage doors.
There's Davis.
Dave, he slipped through. Get down to the next corner and ring the block.
Yeah.
Ben, did you follow him?
Yeah, right on his tail. That warehouse, a couple of lots over. He went through the back. There it is, Joe.
All right, don't go in blind. Watch out. All right, you haven't got a chance. Come out with your hands up.
Not stopping, Joe.
All right, let's fan out. All right, Ben, cover me. I'm going for the door. right, Ben, come on, you're clear. You spot him? There he is. Let's get him.
Close. He's in a good spot. Let's move.
He's up in the loft. Come on, let's head for the stairs.
Will you?
Easy. You spot him, Ben?
Not a sign.
Ben, look out, that packing tail!
Kind of close, huh, Joe?
Yeah. Let's get that punk now.
Look out, Joe, there's another one.
All right, you. We got the warehouse surrounded. Come on down. All right, then we'll blast you out.
Joe, he's dropping down the ladder. He's going for the front door.
They're waiting for you with Tommy guns out there. They'll cut you down. Stop.
Joe, he's got the door open. He's making a break for it.
He's crazy. He's trying to shoot his way out. Well, he asked for it.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Messed up.
Like his girlfriends.
Yeah. Maybe he just didn't like women.
Maybe. Hi, Ed.
You all right?
Tired.
This is him, huh? Even the scratches that girl made on his face. Description match?
5 feet 10, 192 pounds, dark hair, dark eyes, age 29. Robert Long, killer.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
You have just heard the 10th in a new series of authentic cases transcribed from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Detective Louis A. Abbott of the Chicago Police Department, who on the afternoon of March 3rd, 1947, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. If you enjoyed tonight's production of Dragnet, you'll probably want to listen this Saturday evening to a pair of adventure shows featuring two well-known Hollywood personalities. You'll enjoy Brian Donlevy, star of Dangerous Assignment. Also on Saturday's schedule is Richard Diamond, private detective, as played by the screen's romantic tough guy, Dick Powell. Listen to both of these exciting programs this Saturday over most of these NBC stations. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A police officer is shot down on the front steps of his home. There's no apparent motive for the shooting. The assailant escapes in a blue sedan. Your job, get him.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, May 23rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was off duty reporting back in on an emergency call. It was 5 minutes past 3 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. How is he?
He's dead.
Oh? Went kind of fast.
I just got the call a couple of minutes ago. He died and went to the hospital.
Friday, Ben, let's go. Thad Brown's office.
All right.
How'd it happen, Skipper?
Haven't got all the details. Guy used a shotgun, point blank. Fillmore didn't have a chance.
Chief of Detective's office, he got crime lab? Yeah, out there now. Right.
Chief Brownigan?
Down the hall with Captain Wayne, intelligence office. He said to have you wait.
Okay, we'll be inside.
Right.
You want to fill us in, Skipper?
Not much to tell. Fillmore was working the day watch out of robbery. He left work at 6 o'clock last night, drove home.
Yeah.
He had dinner, then he and his wife went to a show. He got home about 11:30, went to bed.
Yeah.
About 1:30 this morning, the front doorbell rang and Fillmore answered it. His wife said she heard him open the door, and there was a gunshot. She ran to the front door in time to see a guy jump in a car and drive away. Fillmore was lying on the porch, chest ripped open.
You say the guy used a shotgun?
Yeah.
No other information on the car he used?
Blue sedan, that's all the wife could tell us. She didn't get the license number, said it looked like a new model car.
No physical evidence.
Haven't found anything yet.
Here's the boss.
Chief?
Elliot, you brief Friday and Romero?
Told him much as I know.
Any idea what the guy's motive was?
Revenge.
Any leads?
Just one. Then White Intelligence came up with it. A guy by the name of Jake Carver.
Carver? Not familiar.
Got out of Folsom 3 days ago. Served 7 years armed robbery.
Yeah.
Fillmore was the man who got Carver and sent him up. The time he was sentenced, Carver swore up and down he'd get Fillmore when he got out. Hot-headed punk.
Where do we look for Carver?
Already checked where he's supposed to be staying. Not there. The list of guys he used to run with before he went to Folsom.
Thanks.
Let's see, Joe.
Here it is. Ralph Danton, Ernie Travis, Jaime Flores.
Carver been seen around town since he got out?
Once that we know of, in a bar out on Sunset Boulevard. Flores was with him.
How about Travis and Danton? They still around?
Let's see. Travis went east 2 years ago. Danton's around. Still runs with Flores. That's where you start.
Flores?
Yeah.
Okay. Any reason?
2. Flores' sister used to go with Carver.
Yeah.
Flores owns a blue sedan.
3:20 a.m. We checked Jaime Flores' last known address, the old 76 Hotel down on South Alameda. Flores had moved. His forwarding address was his mother's house, 1232 Alabama Street out in Boyle Heights. His mother told us Jaime was living on County View Avenue in Highland Park. 4:30 a.m. We located the address.
No garage here. Wonder where Jaime keeps his car.
Not parked on the street.
Yeah? What do you want?
Police officers.
Oh,
Like to talk to Jaime Flores?
Jaime? It's late. We're in bed.
It's important. We'd like to talk to him.
All right. Wait. I'll go get him up. Jaime. Come on, get up. Come on, Jaime. Cops at the door. I want to talk to you.
What did you say?
We want to talk to you.
Yeah, officers. What can I do for you?
You Jaime Flores?
That's right. We're looking for Jake Carver. You know where he is?
Wish I did. I'm through with that guy.
Why? What's the matter?
He borrowed my car the day before yesterday. Said he'd only be gone a couple hours. I'm still waiting.
You own a blue sedan, is that right?
Yeah, 48 Chevy. Why, did he crack it up?
Couldn't tell you. Do you have any idea where we can look for Carver?
If I did, I'd be looking myself.
You know if Carver's got a gun?
Why, that punk pull a job?
Does he have a gun?
In the trunk of the car. I use it on hunting trips.
What kind?
Shotgun.
4:45 a.m. We got out a broadcast and an APB on Jake Carver, containing a complete description of the car and its license number. Roadblocks were set up on all main roads leading out of the city, and police details at the airports, bus depots, and the railroad terminals were alerted. All of the people whom Carver was known to have run with before he was sent to Folsom Penitentiary were rounded up and brought in for questioning. While Captain Elliott from Homicide supervised the interrogation, Ben went across the street to check with the coroner at the morgue. I contacted Lee Jones at the crime lab. 6 a.m., we met in Chief of Detectives Thad Brown's office.
Crime lab find anything?
Single footprint, that's all. Jones found it in one of the flower beds in front of Fillmore's home.
Tie-in?
Size 10. It's Carver's size.
A little help.
Is there any indication Carver might still be in the city?
No, there was a good 3 hours between the time Fillmore was shot and the roadblocks went up.
What about Carver's pals? They help any?
Well, Flores is the only one I met seeing him since he got out.
What about Flores' sister, Dorothy?
She lives out in Long Beach. Cenas and Burton are bringing her in now.
That guy, Flores, did you question him again, Elliot?
Yeah.
Satisfied with everything he told you that he knows?
That's right. He doesn't seem to be too close to Carver. No record of any correspondence with him while he was in Folsom.
What about the coroner's report?
Shotgun, close range, hit him hard.
Those mugshots of Carver, they out?
Photocopy's still working on it. Turning out 2,000.
Excuse me. Brown speaking. Albert. Right. They got Dorothy Flores in the interrogation room. You want to talk to her, Elliot?
Ben, you and Joe talk to her. Tell Cenas and Burton to check in here. I got another angle I want them to start on.
Right, let's go, Joe. He must be as mad as a hatter. 3 days out of Folsom and he kills a cop.
Yeah, if it was him.
You got any other ideas?
You need more than a footprint. We gotta find the gun. We gotta prove that he used it.
Hi. You two gonna take over?
Yeah, Lloyd. You and Gil check in at the chief's office. The captain wants to see you.
Okay. You want the policewoman to stand by?
It's fine.
Let's go, Gil. See you guys later.
All right.
Come on. You're Dorothy Flores?
Yeah,
You know why you're here?
Jake Carver. That's what they told me.
That's right. You know where he is?
No.
Have you seen Carver in the past 3 days?
Look, I don't want any part of the guy. He's nothing to me. He never was.
You used to go around with him, didn't you?
7 years ago, before he went to Folsom.
What happened to your eye, Miss Flores? Those bruises there on your arm.
We had a party. I fell and bumped myself.
Looks like a pretty new black eye. Did you have the party last night?
I told you, Jake's nothing to me. He's a crazy hothead. I don't want any part of him.
Was he around to see you last night?
I used to go with him, that's all. I don't care what happened to him.
You saw him last night.
I didn't.
This is on a murder rap, Miss Flores.
I didn't want to see him. He came to my room. He forced his way in. I didn't want any part of him.
When was it?
Early this morning.
What time?
About 2 o'clock. Maybe 10 after. He wanted money. Acted like a crazy man. I told him I didn't have any money. He slugged me. That's how I got this mouse.
What do you want the money for?
He said he got the cop who set him up. He had to get out of town. He took my purse. $48 in it.
Was he driving your brother's car?
Yeah. I didn't want any part of him. I got nothing in this.
Did he tell you where he was headed?
Mexico. He's got friends across the border. Tijuana.
Stay with her, Ben.
And get a stenographer, too, will you?
Yeah.
Righty.
The Flores girl, Skipper. Carver saw her this morning. Admitted shooting Fillmore. She says he's headed south for Tijuana.
Maybe he stopped off on the way.
How do you mean?
Drugstore in San Pedro just held up. Owner was shot and killed.
Yeah?
The guy was driving a blue sedan.
An immediate alert was teletyped to the coastal town south of Los Angeles in the vicinity of San Pedro. The San Diego police were alerted, as were the Mexican authorities in Tijuana and other designated points of entry along the California-Mexico border. 7:50 a.m. Ben and I, together with Lloyd Barton and Al Shambra of Homicide, drove down to San Pedro and checked in with Lieutenant Maxwell at San Pedro Homicide.
What kind of a gun did the guy use, Lieutenant?
I checked the body. Looks like it could have been a .45.
No chance it might have been a shotgun?
No, not that kind of a wound.
Who saw the guy make his getaway?
My wife did. We live right across the street from the drugstore. Wife heard the shooting, ran to the window. She says it was a blue sedan.
She didn't see the license plate?
No. I got a look at the car before it disappeared. It looked like a Chevy to me.
There's been no sign of it since the roadblocks went up?
Not yet. It's pretty hard to understand.
How do you mean?
Take a look at the map here. Here's Palos Verdes and Clifton to the west. Roadblocks there.
Yeah,
Here's the roadblock to the north, just this side of Harbor City. Another one. Northeast, near Wilmington.
Yeah.
This one here, outside of Long Beach.
Got 4 roads to pick from.
They're all blocked off, huh?
No turnoffs, no detours. All the roads are under patrol.
You think he got south beyond Long Beach before the roadblocks went up?
Not a chance.
It's hard to figure.
He could be hiding out somewhere along the way. Excuse me. This is Lieutenant Maxwell. Where? Okay, be right there.
Anything?
I found the car off the Coast Highway, blue Chevy sedan.
How about Carver?
Bloodstains in the front seat. That's all they found.
You are listening to Dragnet for the step-by-step solution to an actual police case. Here, step-by-step, are the reasons why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers from coast to coast.
Step 1. The name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. Step 2. Long cigarette smokers discover Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma. Step 3. Long cigarette smokers find Fatima extra mild. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
And that's why more and more smokers every day agree
it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Yes, the name Fatima on that golden yellow package is your insurance of an extra mild smoke.
So enjoy king-size Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
8:45 a.m. We found the blue Chevrolet sedan. It was lying overturned in a ditch just off a dead-end road on the edge of a grove of eucalyptus trees. Oil was still dripping from the crankcase. There were bloodstains on the upholstery in the front seat. In the glove compartment, we found 2 empty shotgun shells. Ben marked them with his initials for evidence and wrapped them in a handkerchief. The fingerprint men were called. We fanned out and started a search of the general area.
See if we can't pick up a trail in this eucalyptus grove here. Sure has got me beat.
What's that?
The car all smashed up back there, blood all over. The guy must have been hurt. How'd he get this far away from the car?
What makes you think he did get far?
Either that or he's hiding right under our nose. No sign of a trail through here?
No, there's nothing. There's a clearing up ahead. Come on, let's cut through this brush here. Ben, come here.
Yeah.
Take a look. Trunk of this tree.
Brown smears on it. Blood?
Maybe. Look, higher up on the trunk there's the same thing. Wait a minute.
Up in the tree. You see anything up there?
No, the branches are pretty thick. The trees go pretty high up. It's 60 feet up there.
Come here, Joe.
Yeah?
Follow my hand. No, just over to the left where I'm pointing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cover, Ben.
You all right, Joe?
Yeah. Can you see him?
Yeah, up near the top. Right. Wait!
Stay off, Burton. Don't come in the clearing. He's up in one of the trees.
Throw that gun down, then come down yourself.
All right, Ben.
Steady, Joe. On it.
It's Carver.
Shotgun's over there. You alive? Yeah. It's a hard tree to climb. Wonder how he got up there.
I don't know. But this was the only way to get him down. We called an ambulance and had Jake Carver taken back to Los Angeles to the county hospital, prison ward. We took the shotgun and the empty shells and booked them as evidence with the property clerk. The wrecked blue sedan was impounded. 2 counts of murder were filed against Carver with the district attorney. There was still one important piece of evidence missing, the .45 pistol used in the robbery and murder of the San Pedro druggist. A month passed. While Carver recuperated in the prison ward of the county hospital, we were busy building a case for his conviction. We still had only enough evidence to convict him for one of the murders. Another 2 months went by. On August 30th, Jake Carver was brought to trial for the shotgun murder of police officer Robert Fillmore. 10 days later, the jury found him guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to a life term in Folsom Penitentiary. Knowing that we didn't have enough evidence to convict his client for the murder of the druggist, Carver's lawyer demanded an immediate trial on the second charge. Wednesday, September 12th, 10 a.m. I was called into the chief of detective's office.
Friday? Sit down.
Thank you.
Elliot and I have been talking about this Jake Carver thing.
They set the trial date yet?
Starts next Tuesday. Bringing Carver down from Folsom tomorrow.
It's bum luck. We're not going to convict him on the evidence we've got. We don't even have the gun.
We've got to get a conviction. He beat the death rap for killing Fillmore. If he gets over this one, it means he's still eligible for parole.
Yeah.
So he serves 10 years, maybe. Good behavior. He gets out and he's ready to start in all over again.
Yeah, if we could just sew him up for killing that druggist, we could put him away for good.
I don't know how, Skipper. It's a pretty good bet that no jury will convict him unless we find that gun.
We got another out. Just one.
What's that?
We can get Carver to admit he killed that druggist.
It's a neat trick.
You and Ben got him last May. Did he see you at all? You think he could recognize you again?
Couldn't have gotten a very good look from where he was up in that tree. Ben did all the testifying at the trial. I wasn't even there. No, he wouldn't know me. Why?
When they bring Carver down from Folsom tomorrow, they'll put him in county jail while he's waiting trial.
Yeah.
Chief figures if we could plant you in the same cell with him, there's a chance he might talk. If you play it right.
Well, I don't know. He's no beginner.
Neither are you. Carve enough of the right bait at the right time, there's a chance he'll put his foot in it.
Maybe. All right, will you set it up with the county jail?
Yeah, and remember, he's a killer. Don't take any chances.
Suppose he gets wise.
And we'll know you tried.
The following day at 2 p.m., I was booked at Central Jail as Joe Ramus, a robbery suspect. Ramus was the actual name of an Eastern thief whom we knew was not acquainted with Jake Carver. After being mugged and fingerprinted, transportation officers took me to the 12th floor of the Hall of Justice, where I was booked into the county jail. After that, I was taken down to a cell block on the 10th floor known as the High Power Tank, where prisoners charged with major crimes are held. During the day, the individual cells are left open and the prisoners are allowed to visit with one another. I was taken back and shown the cell I was assigned to. Jake Carver was already there. He was playing two-handed poker with another inmate on the lower bunk.
Here you are, Ramus. This cell here. You can take the top bunk.
All right.
How many cards you
Make it two, Jake.
Hey, move, will you? I want to get in my bunk.
Come on, make your bed.
Says 2 cigarettes.
You're 2, bunk you 6.
I said I'd like to get in my bunk.
Go on, Sam.
Okay. See you.
Maybe you didn't hear me, Sam. I said I want to get in my bunk.
I heard you, Mac. I don't like shoving around like this.
All right, now sit down. What's your complaint?
Didn't they tell you when you came through the door? They'd bury you in the hole for beefing in here.
Then as long as I'm in here with you, let's get it straight right now. Don't bother me. And while you're at it, keep your rum-dum pals out of here, you understand?
I don't think I do.
You'll be around about quite a while, smart guy. I won't forget this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, time. Come on, here it is. What are you doing down there, Dobbin?
Nothing. I always sit on the floor.
Get back to your cell. Ciao.
Yeah. See you, Jake.
What's this junk they feed you?
Boiled beef, boiled potatoes. It's a habit with them here.
Junk. Can you buy from the outside?
Candy. Sometimes pie. Guy comes around in the morning. Who are you?
Joe Ramus.
Ramus, huh? Chicago?
I've been there.
So right. I'm Jake Carver. Hiya.
All right.
What are you up for?
Talk to my lawyer.
You got a smart mouth.
You got a big one. You take care of your own worries, huh? I'll take care of mine.
I ain't got any worries. I got it made. Hey, you want that piece of bread?
I don't want any of it. Take it.
Tell the truth, I never had it so good. No witnesses, no evidence. You can't touch me.
Sure. That's why you're in here. 3 days passed. By playing the part of the tough gunman from Chicago, I succeeded in getting close to Carver. Because of the close confinement, I was with him almost constantly, but he still refused to confide. In a roundabout way, I pressed him as much as I could for the answer without making him suspicious. No results. 8:55 p.m. Sunday. 2 days before the trial opened. Sam, Jake Carver, and I were playing blackjack in the aisle just outside our cell.
All right, Sam.
There you are.
Okay, I'm good.
Ramus?
I'll stand.
18. Pay 19.
That's all for me.
Me too. I'm gonna hit the sack.
Yeah, just when I start to come.
Always crying.
Hey, Ramus, seems to me I remember you. Haven't I seen you around City Hall?
Sure, I live there.
All right, it's time. Lock up.
No.
Ramus? What's he talking about?
I got a headache. It's killing me.
Yeah? Well, let me crack your neck. It'll help it.
No, it's no good. You got any of them brown pills?
Come on, I'll crack your neck. Loosen up those nerves. Always helps me.
Yeah?
Yeah, here, let me show you. Come on, sit around.
Take it easy.
Just relax. Let yourself go.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get my hands around the back of your neck. Come on, relax. Well, this won't hurt you.
All right.
You gotta be careful with this stuff. You could break a guy's neck, you know?
Take it easy, huh?
What's the matter? Come on, relax.
All right.
Let me get a better grip on your neck.
Easy, huh?
All right, now. Yeah. All right, let's do it. How's that?
That's not bad. Feels a little better. I'll work some.
Sure. Hey, I noticed you had a visitor today. One of the boys from the east?
No. A friend of mine out here. He just got in town. The coppers are trying to pin a killing on him.
No, who is it?
Max Wesley. He's a good man. Tried to say he pulled a job down in San Pedro.
Pedro. What kind of job?
Stick up. Drugstore a couple months ago.
Yeah? That's what they got me on.
It's funny. I think I'll get some shut-eye.
What about this job they're trying to hang on him? He tell you?
I don't remember. The guy who ran the store was shot up and died. Mac wasn't even in town when it happened.
Happened in May? Last May?
I don't know. See you in the morning.
Yeah.
Hard bed.
They didn't have nothing on Max, huh? They let him go.
Oh, yet he's out on bail.
No, I mean, no evidence on him, no gun, huh?
Oh, he got a gun. I think that's what Max said.
Where'd they find it, he say?
I don't know where they found it. Go to sleep.
What did he mention anything else about Pedro, like San Pedro Hills?
Yeah. I remember that's where they found it. I think Max said that.
That couldn't be. All right. Hey, Ramos, it wasn't the Harbor drugstore, was it?
What's he eating? Will you go to sleep?
Look, Ramos, I gotta know. It's important.
What are you talking about? I gotta get some sleep.
Will you listen a minute? I ditched a gun down there in the San Pedro Hills.
All right, what are you worried about? They don't send you up for hiding guns?
Listen, I'm hot on that job. They got me on one murder rap, they tagged me in another one. It's for keeps.
What do you want me to do? Talk to the governor?
Are you sure this guy Max said that they found a gun?
Now look, Carver. Max said they found a gun in the San Pedro Hills. Now you get on down in your bunk and let's talk about it in the morning, huh?
What kind? Did he say what kind?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Was it a 45?
Something like that, yeah, 45. I guess that was it. Now get... Listen. Got that jailer barking down here.
Quiet down in there.
All right. You go to sleep now? Can't wait. It's not the same way. Couldn't find him. Never thought.
Ramos. When did they find the gun? Max tell you that. When did they find the gun? When?
I don't know.
He didn't say where.
San Pedro Hills.
Ramos, I gotta know. Wasn't by a covert, was it? On the Hill Road?
I don't know. I'll ask Max the next time I see him. Is that where you ditched yours?
They couldn't have found it. Nobody could. It was this covert, see, back on the road.
Yeah.
There was a piece of cement broken off the bottom edge of the covert, kind of a hollowed out space inside. I pushed the dirt all around it. You gotta ask Max. Ask him where they found that gun.
Yeah, I'll see him Wednesday. I'll ask him.
You gotta find out. They could put me away for good.
What are you worrying about? They haven't paired you up yet with the gun they found?
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they didn't figure it. Maybe they forgot.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Cops said so. They forget. That's what everybody says.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The murder gun, a .45 caliber automatic pistol, was recovered from the San Pedro Hills, and Jacob John Carver was brought to trial. He was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury again refused to recommend the death penalty. Carver is now serving a life term in the state penitentiary without possibility of parole. You have just heard Dragnet, authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police, W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet wishes to thank the editors of Radio Best magazine for their considerate appraisal of this program. For those of you who may be interested, a novelized version of Dragnet appears in the April issue of Radio Best. Fatima Cigarette, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Tomorrow, hear Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman in the Halls of Ivy on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A 39-year-old housewife disappears suddenly. There's no explanation for it. 5 days later, evidence of possible foul play is uncovered. Your job, investigate. Fatima, America's first largest-selling blended cigarette. Now, best of all king-size cigarettes.
Prove it yourself today. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
And in Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Definitely the best quality in its class, at the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Buy Fatima in the bright sunny yellow pack. Best of all king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 15th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ed Jacobs. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from lunch, and it was 12:56 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe. Waiting for you.
Hi, Ed. Al, here you got something for us, huh?
Mm-hmm. Here's the report right here. A gardener by the name of Abbott called in day before yesterday. Chester Abbott said his wife disappeared from their home out in the valley Thursday night. He says he thinks she left him.
Happens every day.
Not this way, it doesn't. Walsh and I went out to talk to the man yesterday. His story doesn't make too much sense.
How you mean now?
None of his wife's clothes are missing, none of her luggage. She even left her pocketbook behind, full of money. We found out from the neighbors the missing woman has a 17-year-old boy by a former marriage.
Does that mean anything?
He's an only child. Mother dotes on the kid. She didn't even say goodbye to him.
Well, how'd this Chester Abbott impress you?
Pretty grouchy with Walsh and me. No cooperation.
Wants to find his wife, doesn't he?
I don't know. I'm not sure. He's no help, I can tell you that much.
Could I see that report, Al?
Yeah, here you go.
Thank you. Florence Trumbull Abbott, age 39.
Abbott's her second husband. First one died a little after the boy was born.
Mm-hmm. Disappeared Thursday night from the home, 546 Belasco Road, between 7 and 8 o'clock. Well, when did Abbott call in to notify you?
Monday afternoon. Told us he thought his wife might have been spending the weekend with her sister. When he found out she wasn't, he called us.
You meet the boy when you were out there?
Yeah, that's another thing.
How do you mean?
The kid came riding up on a bike when we were talking to one of the neighbors. We tried to talk to him, but the old man came out and hustled the boy into the house. Then he started chewing us out.
And what's his trouble?
Told us it was our job to find his wife, not to go prying into his stepson's affairs.
That's a new slant.
Well, how about the woman's friends and relatives? They've been checked out yet, Al?
Walsh is on it now. Don't think he's had much luck contacting him so far. I'll tell you the truth, I don't like the looks of it.
Mrs. Abbott have any other relatives here? I mean, besides a sister and 2 aunts?
Yeah, I got the list right over here. Sure wish we had a chance to talk to that boy.
Notice anything else out of the way about Mr. Abbott, Al?
Well, I don't know. Here's that list, Joe.
Oh, thank you.
Abbott was upset, all right. I don't know, though. He didn't exactly strike me as reacting the way a normal man reacts when his wife's disappeared.
Well, how about a copy of this report? You got one to spare?
Yeah, sure. Just a minute.
Yeah.
Missing persons, Bargetti. That's right, this is Bargetti speaking. Who's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. About what? All right, good. 4 o'clock? Fine. All right, son, goodbye. Well, that was the boy I was telling you about, Mr. Abbott's stepson.
What do you want?
He wants to talk to us, sounded worried.
About his mother?
He thinks something's happened to her.
In police work, missing persons detail is not a department separate in itself. It's organized as a part of homicide division. When the possibility of homicide arises in the course of handling a case, missing persons immediately turns the matter over to homicide officers for investigation. When we got the call from the Abbott boy, we automatically took over. According to Al Bargetti, the boy said he suspected his stepfather and he didn't want him to know of any meeting between him and police officers. At 3:15, Ed and I left the office and drove to the meeting place designated by the boy, the Dairyland Fountain and Coffee Shop near the corner of Fairfax and Hollywood Boulevard. We got there at 3:50 p.m. At 8 minutes past 5, the Abbott boy still had not arrived. We waited another 15 minutes and then we left and drove out to the valley and pulled up in front of the main gate to the Abbott nursery on Belasco Road. The house itself was set well back on the property, which covered about 5 acres of ground. The entire nursery was surrounded by a 6-foot chain-link fence, and it looked like every available foot of ground inside was planted with some kind of flower or shrub. Mr. Abbott met us at the gate. He had 3 full-grown mastiffs with him. He held them on a chain.
Yes, what do you want?
Police officers, you Chester Abbott?
That's right. What do you want?
Well, if you can get those dogs quiet for a few minutes, we'd like to ask you some questions.
Pretty busy now. Can't you come back tomorrow?
No, it's important, Abbott. We'd like to talk to you now.
All right, if you have to. Rest. Time. Get down there. You two, Joe. Quiet. I said quiet. All right. Now, what do you want?
Mind if we come inside, sir?
What? Dogs of mine are pretty vicious. We can talk here at the gate.
All right. We've been assigned to look into your wife's disappearance, Abbott. This is my partner, Sergeant Jacobs. My name's Friday.
Mm-hmm. Find out anything about my wife yet?
Nothing definite, no. Thought maybe you could help us. Mind telling us exactly what happened the night she disappeared?
What do you mean, what happened?
Well, when did you see her last? When did you first notice she was gone?
Well, we had dinner Thursday night about 7 o'clock, then I laid down for a nap. Florence went out on the front porch for some air. I woke up a little before 8 o'clock and went outside to look for her. She was gone.
No one saw her leave, Mr. Abbott?
Not that I know of. Maybe one of our neighbors. You can ask them. They seem to know everybody's business.
How about your stepson? Wasn't he home Thursday night?
Bruce? No, he went out to a show with some other kids.
When did he get back from the show, you remember?
About 10 o'clock, I think. Why?
Where's the boy now, Abbott?
Who are you looking for, my wife or stepson?
Both of them. Where is he?
Gone. I took him over to my sister's in Alhambra.
He's been feeling bad since his mother disappeared. Figure the change would do him good.
Well, when'd you take him over to your sister's?
This afternoon. What's that got to do with it?
Like to talk to him?
No, you can't. You won't allow it. The boy's too upset right now, and I can't allow it.
I'm afraid you're going to have to allow it, Abbott.
Listen, mister. Get off this property right now if you're going to get fresh with me. No cops giving me any sass. Get down there, honey. Quiet.
Nobody's giving you sass. We want to talk to your stepson, that's all. He might be able to give us a lead on the whereabouts of your wife.
And I say you can't see the boy. You've been looking for Florence for a week, and you haven't found a thing. I'll get somebody else to look for her. It's my business anyway, nobody else's.
It's our business if anything happened to her.
What are you talking about?
You better get your coat, Abbott. I'd like to talk to you downtown.
Come through that gate and I'll let these dogs go.
We'd hate to shoot them, mister.
Wait, what are you trying to prove anyhow? What do I have to go downtown for?
I'll tell you when we get there. Now get your coat. Chester Abbott turned, made his way up the path and into the house. A few minutes later, he came out, closed the gate behind him, and got into our car. On the way back downtown, he talked pleasantly about the weather, the nursery business, and his dogs. When we got to the office, we found out the reason for his sudden change in temperament. His lawyer was waiting for us at the door. We tried to interrogate Abbott, but the lawyer objected to just about every question we asked. It was hopeless, and we knew it, and so did the lawyer. We released Abbott, but not before we got the name and address of his sister in Alhambra, where the stepson, Bruce, was supposedly staying. After Abbott and his lawyer left, Ed and I signed out of the office and drove to Alhambra to check on the boy.
Forget he sure had this one pegged. Real sleeper.
Yeah. I'd like to know how the stepson missed that date with us this afternoon.
The boy called us from the house. Stepfather could have overheard him.
That's possible. Sister's house ought to be along this block, shouldn't it?
Let's see. 1408, 06, yeah, there it is. Great Cottage, 1402.
Okay, let's pull up here, huh?
Right.
Nice looking place, well kept, huh?
Nice neighborhood. Wonder how the lot prices run out here.
I'll get the bell.
Yes, what is it?
Police officers, ma'am. You Miss Abbott?
Yes, Helen Abbott. Why?
Well, we talked to your brother earlier today, Miss Abbott. He said he brought his stepson, Bruce, over here to stay a while. We'd like to see him if we could.
Bruce? Well, yes, he was here until about an hour and a half ago. I went to the store, and when I came back, he was gone.
You any idea where we can find him, Miss Abbott?
Well, I telephoned my brother Chester just before you came to the door. Bruce isn't there.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you mind if we came in and looked around, Miss Abbott? It won't take long.
Well, why? I told you Bruce isn't here. It's the truth. There's no reason to lie about it, is there?
Oh, no, ma'am. It's not that.
Well, then what is it? No reason for me to lie to you.
How about your brother? We went in and looked the house over from one end to the other. There wasn't a trace of the boy. We drove back to the Abbott nursery and satisfied ourselves the boy wasn't there. Meantime, the home of Chester Abbott's sister in Alhambra was kept under constant surveillance. No one came or went. The next morning, when Ed and I checked in for work as usual at 8 a.m., we met with Sergeant Al Barghetti.
Well, I had half an idea there might be something wrong. What makes you so positive, Bill?
It's just it, Al. We're not positive. It's the whole setup, I guess. Smelt a bit.
How do you mean, for instance?
Well, Abbott's lawyer, for one thing. If a man's innocent, he doesn't have his lawyer sit with him and tell him not to answer any questions.
Yeah?
Number two, the kid's phone call. He didn't show up for that date. We figured.
I don't know. Could be he doesn't get along with his stepfather. Happens, you know. Maybe he's trying to get back at him for something or other.
That could be. Why is Abbott hiding him out there?
Pretty sure he's hiding him out.
The way things been going, no other way to take it.
Mrs. Abbott walked away from her home last Thursday night. Nobody saw her. She took nothing with her. No luggage, no clothes, no money.
That's it.
You checked with her family doctor?
Yesterday. Told us Mrs. Abbott was in perfect health. Checked her bank statements, double-checked the name through Wanderer's file. Repeaters found missing persons. Couldn't find it in either one.
Her relatives, too. How you talked to them?
Some of them, yeah, Al. Got a few more to check out this morning.
One thing's certain. No clothes, no money, no luggage. She couldn't have gone very far. You checked all the angles, huh?
Sheriff's office, the jails, the hospitals. Sent out a teletype and an APB. She's been gone almost a week and nobody's seen her. Now, how's that add up to you?
Well, you got an idea?
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
8:45 a.m. Ed and I left the office and continued making the rounds of the missing woman's friends and relatives. We checked at the Western National Bank, where Mrs. Abbott maintained another account. Her savings statement showed a total balance of $31,564.17. Her checking account had a balance of $842.71. At the Farmers Mutual, we found the record of an insurance policy issued to Florence Trumbull Abbott. It was a 20-pay life policy covering the insured in the amount of $30,000. The beneficiary was listed as the insured's son, Bruce Trumbull Abbott, if living upon receipt of such due proof. If not, the insured's husband, Chester J. Abbott. By the time we finished checking the missing woman's financial status, we figured we had a fair suspect in the husband, Chester Abbott. From casual reports, we knew he was a frugal man, almost to the point of obsession. If he was greedy as well, if he wanted or needed money badly enough to kill, then he had all the motives necessary to murder his wife. Maybe his stepson, too. 6:40 p.m., Ed and I drove back to the office. Go ahead.
Long day, a lot of mileage.
Wonder if Al's still around. Hey, Bargetti. Al?
Yeah, here. That you, Friday?
Yeah.
How'd you do? Get anything?
A few things, pretty fair luck.
Good. I got some more for you. Just walked in here 10 minutes ago.
Who's that?
Bruce Abbott. He's waiting in the next room.
We went into the next room and met the Abbott boy. He was small for a 17-year-old, dark-haired, thin, a little on the sickly side. He seemed nervous and upset. He told us that he wasn't able to keep the date he made with us on the phone because his stepfather did apparently overhear the conversation and drove the boy immediately to his sister's place in Alhambra. We asked the boy what made him so sure that his stepfather was responsible for his mother's disappearance.
Well, for one thing, all three of us usually go to the early show on Thursday night. Chester, Mom, and me. But last Thursday we didn't go.
Why was that, son?
Chester said he wasn't feeling too good and he wanted Mom to stay home and take care of him. And he told me to go on ahead to the show, so I did.
What time did you get home, Bruce?
About 10:15, 10 o'clock.
Did you notice anything unusual when you got home, son?
Not so much, no. Mom wasn't there. I didn't think much about it then. I thought maybe she was over to one of the neighbors.
You asked your stepfather where she was?
Uh-huh. He said he didn't know. He said he thought she was over at one of the neighbors, too.
What was your stepfather doing when you got home?
Just sitting in the living room reading the paper. I usually don't talk to him too much. I just asked him where Mom was, and he told me, and then I went back to my room and went to bed.
Did you notice anything unusual about the way he acted? Anything different about him at all?
Well, I'm not too sure. He did seem a little nervous, though. Jumpy. More than usual, I think.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Well, when I came through the front yard, I noticed the dogs had mud all over their paws. Red, Jaime, and George, all three of them. They must have been out in the nursery plots.
Anything unusual about that?
In a way, yeah. You see, the dogs don't go out in the plots unless Chester's with them. He doesn't want them to trample the seedlings. I noticed Chester had mud on his shoes that night, too.
And you figure your stepfather was out digging somewhere in the nursery plots that night, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Digging somewhere. He must have been. Can't figure out why, though.
How do you mean, son?
My stepfather never works at night.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
And in Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
To show our confidence in Fatima, we make this money-back guarantee to every king-size cigarette smoker.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy Fatima quality, extra mildness, and superbly blended tobaccos.
If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas before August 1st, 1952, and we'll give you your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Remember, each king-size Fatima gives you an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Switch to Fatima today. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Thursday, September 16th, 7:05 p.m. We continued talking to the missing woman's 17-year-old son, Bruce Abbott. As the interview went on, it became more and more obvious that the boy and his stepfather, Chester Abbott, didn't get along at all. Apparently, the boy was jealous of him, and he was jealous of the boy. Besides his prejudice, Bruce also contradicted himself during the course of the questioning. 7:15 p.m., the interview went on.
I understand that all right, son, but you say you can't think of any reason why your father'd be out working in the nursery plots that time of night?
No, sir, I can't. I don't know how he'd get any work done. None of the plots are even lighted, only the greenhouses.
Well, is it possible he could have gotten that mud on his shoes working in one of the greenhouses?
No, sir, I don't see how. All the paths in the greenhouses are gravel. It's my job to see they're kept gravel. I know they weren't muddy because I fixed them the day before.
Well, what do you think it means, Bruce?
I don't know. I don't want to think about it. I just know he's done something. He's done something to her.
Did your father, that is your stepfather, give you any reason for keeping you away from the police officers that came to your house? I mean, the first two officers who showed up?
No, he said people were getting nosy, that's all. He said it might be better for me over at my Aunt Helen's place.
Mm-hmm. Do you think your Aunt Helen might know where your mother is?
I don't think so. We hardly ever see Aunt Helen. We don't know her well at all.
Well, do you know if your mother and stepfather argued very much, son? I mean, big arguments.
Sometimes, yeah. Mostly about me.
How do you mean?
Chester's pretty tight, you know. Doesn't like to spend money at all. He and Mom used to argue about whether I ought to get paid for the work I did around the nursery. Chester didn't want to pay me.
That's so.
Yeah, when I started working, he promised he'd pay me. I was saving up to buy a 31 Model A. After a couple of weeks, when he didn't pay me, I asked him about it. He told me I ought to be glad to work for him for nothing.
And your mother argued with him about that?
Sure, she got good and mad, too. She should have gotten mad. It was her money that bought the nursery anyway.
Well, how'd you happen to get away from your aunt's place, Bruce?
It wasn't too hard. Helen had some shopping to do, and she left me alone. She locked the door to my room. Even the screen over the window was nailed down, but I kicked it out and got away. I stayed at a friend's house last night.
You thought much about where you're going to stay tonight, son?
Well, I don't know. Sergeant Brigetti, I was talking to him. He asked me if I wanted to go out and have dinner and then stay at his house tonight. I don't know.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
I don't know. Sure nice of him to ask me.
I think it'd be a lot better for you, son. Why don't you check in the next office, see if Bargetti's ready to leave, huh?
Yeah. Okay, Sergeant. Thanks.
Sure.
You betcha.
Joe, what do you think?
It's hard to say. He might be lying. Before we signed out of the office that night, we met with Captain Lorman and outlined a plan to bring in the husband of the missing woman for questioning alone. We figured it'd serve two purposes: clarify the boy's position in the case and determine one way or another if the stepfather was withholding information about the disappearance of Mrs. Abbott. The big problem was to bring in Chester Abbott for interrogation without the knowledge of his lawyer. As we'd found out more than once, it was impossible to get anything out of Abbott with his lawyer present. We set up a plan to call at the Abbott home early in the morning, get the suspect out of bed, and bring him in before his lawyer could be notified. At 3:30 the following morning, Ed and I met at the office and started for the Abbott place. We brought along a couple of pounds of fresh horse meat to keep the dogs quiet if they raised a fuss. At 10 minutes past 4 a.m., we parked our car a few hundred feet down the road from the Abbott nursery and made our way toward the gate. I reached in and tried the latch. The dogs started up.
How about it, Joe? Open?
No, it's padlocked. We're gonna have to climb the fence. Toss some of that meat over to him, will you?
Yeah, okay. There.
All right, that does it. All right, let's climb the fence.
Keep an eye on the hounds. Looks like they could take a leg off.
Yeah. Take it easy, Ed.
All right. Watch it.
Yeah. Here comes that other dog. Get some more of that meat ready.
Yeah. There you are, boy. Go get it. Go on.
All right, that's fine. Come on, let's hurry.
Have a look, Joe.
Huh?
Windows along the side of the house. Lights just went on.
Yeah, come on.
Right.
Who is it? Who's there? Who is it? I'll set the dogs on you.
Police officers, Abbott. Friday and Jacobs.
What kind of business is this? What are you doing out here this time of night?
You're under arrest, Mr. Abbott.
What are you talking about?
I think you heard me. You're under arrest.
What kind of crazy thing is this? You're going to pay for this. I'll have your job.
All right, you want to get your coat?
You cops are asking for a pack of trouble. You know that.
Get your coat.
I'd like to know what you think you're doing. Where's my stepson, anyway? What have you done with him?
I got a better one for you, mister.
Huh?
What have you done with your wife? 4:25 a.m. Ed and I drove the suspect, Chester Abbott, back downtown to the office. He was quiet and sullen. We headed down the hall for the squad room.
Lights still burning in the office.
Yeah, probably Bargetty standing by. All right, Abbott, in there.
You're going to pay for this. You can take my word on that.
Ed, you want to take him in the office here and stay with him? I'll check with Al.
Okay. All right, Abbott, inside.
Joe, you bring him in?
Yeah, he's next door. Ed's with him.
Tough. Somebody must have seen you.
No, I don't think so.
They must have.
Why? What do you mean?
Abbott's lawyer. He's sitting in the next room.
How the lawyer had been notified, we couldn't be sure. Again, we tried to question Abbott, and again, on the advice of his attorney, he refused to answer practically every question we put to him. We released him. That day, Captain Lorman assigned 2 men to stake out on the nursery and report on all of Chester Abbott's movements. A little after 7 p.m., just after nightfall, we tried again to bring the suspect in for questioning without his lawyer's knowledge. It didn't work. The men assigned to stake out on the Abbott place reported definitely that someone was tipping off the attorney whenever unknown visitors showed up at the nursery and drove off together with Mr. Abbott. There was nothing we could do about it. The following morning, Al Bargetty came up with a lead.
Had a long talk with the boy last night. Think he came up with a pretty fair lead.
How's that?
The old man's responsible. We know there's only one way we'll get a conviction.
Yeah?
Find the body and enough evidence to tie him in.
Yeah, well, where do we start looking?
In a new rose bed. It's next to one of the greenhouses in Abbott's nursery.
Boy tell you this?
Yeah, seems to make sense. We know old man Abbott's crazy about saving $1. We found that out from the neighbors and the relatives.
Mm-hmm.
On the nursery trade, especially in the limited area Abbott has to work in, you cultivate every foot of ground you have. You plant every foot of soil with something.
Well, yeah, Al, what's the point?
Well, Abbott's not the type to waste anything. He wouldn't let ground lie fallow when he could plant something that might bring in a few dollars next spring.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce tells me his stepfather has every inch of the property planted with something. Everything except a 6x8 plot of ground in that rose garden.
Well, what did the boy say? The plot been vacant for long?
Well, he says his stepfather got it ready for planting a week and a half ago. It's still vacant.
Be worth checking out. How do we do it?
We can order up a crew from the crime lab. They can take probings through the plot, all around it. They ought to be able to tell us how deep the ground's been worked over lately.
Okay, what do you figure, tonight?
I think so, yeah. Maybe 11, 12 o'clock.
What about old man Abbott? You think he's going to sit still for it?
If the hunch pays off, he's going to sit still a long time.
It was 10 minutes past 11 that night when we got to the Abbott nursery. Lee Jones and the crime lab crew, Al Barghetti, Ed, and 2 other men from homicide. The men on Stakeout told us Chester Abbott, along with his attorney, had left the house a half hour before in his car, a dark blue coupe. They hadn't returned. Ed brought along another supply of fresh horse meat for the dogs, so we didn't have any trouble there. We located the vacant plot of ground in the rose bed next to one of the greenhouses, as Bruce Abbott had described it to Barghetti. The crime lab crew started probing. The ground obviously had been worked over recently, and to some depth. They started digging.
Anderson, get that light over here, will you? Thanks. Joe, see anything?
No. Let's keep digging.
It's right over here, huh?
Yeah. You know, this is it. He wasn't taking any chances. Down a good 4 or 5 feet now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, at least that.
Anderson, more light, huh?
All right, let's go at it. All right, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Woman's shoe here. Come on.
Just a minute.
Yeah, that's it. Shoulder there, it's a body. Well, it paid off, Al. The boy had it figured.
Yeah, too bad he was right.
Ed and I went back to our car and notified communications to broadcast a warrant for murder on Chester Abbott. His description, together with a description of his car and license number, was rebroadcast every 15 minutes. The attorney was contacted, and he stated that Mr. Abbott had dropped him off at his home more than an hour before. He knew nothing of his whereabouts. Ed and I went back to check the Abbott home and found the front door unlocked. We went inside and looked around. In one bedroom, we found clothes scattered over the bed and on the floor. There was only one old suit left in one closet. On the table next to the bed, we found an airline's timetable. We got to the phone and notified communications to alert all special details at railroad stations, bus terminals, and airports, and then to get out an APB. After that, we checked with the airlines. One of them told us a man answering Abbott's description had booked passage to Mexico City that night under the name of Charles Frazier. The plane was scheduled to leave at 1:52 a.m. at the Burbank Airport. We called the detail at the airport and alerted them. Then we drove over to the field to follow through on it. It was 1:32 a.m. when Ed and I took up our positions just inside Gate 3, where passengers were boarding Flight 72 for Mexico City. There was no sign of the suspect either on the plane or in the waiting room.
Think he'll show?
I don't know.
Want your bag over here?
Where's Barghetti?
Over there by the cocktail lounge. See him?
Oh, yeah. What time you got now?
1:38.
Plane's due to take off in another 4 minutes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Any sign of him, Al?
No, nothing. Just made the rounds. Checked with Stevens and Cummings. If he got in, he came in somebody's suitcase. Couldn't have possibly gotten through without one of us seeing it.
Yeah, well, he hasn't got much more time. Maybe it's a dead end, huh?
You don't see how he could have gotten wise, do you?
Over there. No, by the ticket counter there. You see him?
Yeah, that's him. Come on.
Right.
All right, just a minute, Abbott.
I haven't got time now. I'll miss my plane. If you have anything more to say to me, you can wait till I get back.
Afraid not, Abbott.
And take it up with my lawyer. I'm in a hurry.
We found your wife's body.
How's that?
In the rose bed next to the greenhouse.
I don't know what you mean. You must be mistaken.
No mistake. Hands behind your back.
What's this all about? I haven't done anything.
All right, let's go.
No, just a minute. You got it wrong. I don't know anything about it.
We think you do. Now, come on.
Wasn't my fault. I didn't know what I was doing. Complete insanity. She drove me to it. We were arguing about the boy and she slapped me. I didn't mean to do it.
All right, let's go, Abbott.
Can you wait just a minute more?
What for?
My plane. One for Mexico City. Funny, isn't it?
What's that?
I was so close. Just missed it. Not by more than 1 minute.
No, you're wrong about that, Abbott.
Just 1 minute, that's all.
You missed it before you ever bought your ticket.
How do you figure?
When you first decided to kill your wife. Come on.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 19th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I'm holding 2 sets of fingerprint cards. Now, on one, prints found at the scene of a crime. On the second, a suspect's taken from files. Now, the only way in the world you can tell they're made by the same suspect is by comparison. If you'll compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette, you'll find Fatima's length filters the smoke, 85 millimeters for your protection. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size. And you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Prove it today. Buy Fatima.
Chester Vernon Abbott was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to recommend clemency. Abbott was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, and Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Barney Phillips and Herb Ellis. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all king-size cigarettes has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.